All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We will pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. I whom you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only. Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there is one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All praises be to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. What's good with you, my G? Well, I seen you out there doing your thing, man. Just make sure you keep your mind on the right track, my G. You know what I'm saying? Good to see you too, man. So let's hit this Revelation 2 and 7. To he that had him here with the Ruach. Oh, we got a little connection problem in the rain, a little ugly out there, right? All right, y'all, here we go. Connection back online. He that have an ear, let him hear what the Ruach saith unto the synagogues. To him that overcome will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of Elohim. We were talking about image. We was in 2 Kings 19. We need to do some more stuff in 2 Kings 19. Let's return. And then, you know what? Look at the Lord. I seen in my memory the other day that we had put 2 Kings 19 out there probably about a good 7, 8 years ago. That's the last time we really took an in-depth journey through this particular chapter and passage. So praise God. It's about that time. 2 Kings 19, y'all. Verse 20 is sufficient. Get the lights up for me if you would, please. Of course, you know we're going to take a back a look at Genesis chapter 1. I know we read a little Romans 8 on Wednesday, but let's get it. 2 Kings 19 and 20. Then Isaiah, the son of Amos, sent to Hezekiah, saying, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim of Yasharal, which have prayed to me against Sennacherib, Malach of Assyria, I have heard. This, the word Yahuwah has spoken concerning him. The virgin daughter of Zion have despised you, laughed you to scorn, and the daughter of Jerusalem have shaken her head at you. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed, and against whom have you exalted voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Against the Kadash of Yasharal. Now, we kind of talked about that on Wednesday, but let's take a look. Let's look at this virgin daughter of Zion laughing to scorn. Matter of fact, let me look at something real quick. I think it might be Job 21, but I don't know if it's Job 21. And that's only because we talked about that in Psalms 1, and we still got that Psalms 1 on deck. That's not Job, that's Psalms. Give me a second time to remember. Yeah, Job 30. That's what I need. Job 30. You can grab your Psalms 1 also, but Job 30. Let's bring up some stuff we can talk about in a while. He say, but now are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers would I have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Well, let's look at younger so you can understand what that means. When you look at younger than I, you have Sar, mean. Mean in this aspect is account of, so we don't want that because that ain't nothing but an old preposition. But then when you have this one here, you have Sair, which of course is those that are literal, younger or insignificant than him. They have him in derision. What is derision? We mentioned it the other day. It's shakak, it's to laugh, it's to play, it's to mock, It's to make jest of. I want y'all to come over here and look at something in Ephesians, right? I think it's Ephesians. Ephesians 5, right? Look at verse 1, I suppose. Slow, Brother Ellis. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, walk in love as Mashiach also loved us, having given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness for covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become faithful. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. So when you look at jesting, and this one here, right? The word is eutrapelia, which is pleasantry, humor, facetiousness, scurrility, ribaldry, low jesting. I haven't seen the word ribaldry in a long time. You know what ribaldry is? It's considered to be low and base humor towards another. But I'll get you the whole meaning. I ain't seen that word since high school. Do you know that it's stated that if you have a vocabulary and you don't use those words after a certain amount of time, your vocabulary decreases? You said that like you weren't familiar with such information. I mean, how would it stay in your brain if you don't use it? Yes. Ribaldry is amusingly coarse or irreverent talk or behavior. Oh, that's not what we want. Ribaldry. So, do you know what irreverent is? These people ain't taught y'all nothing. Or did you not read books? Hold on. It's not as forth as it's not irrelevant. It's irreverent. But when you come with irreverent, that is a lack of respect of things that are generally taken seriously. So when they're referring to not jesting, it's to not joke about the word as if the word is a light matter to play about. The reason why I came there to look at that is because it says those that were younger than me had me in derision. They were mocking and laughing at playing with him. So therefore they were jesting. They were jesting and making a mockery of something that should have been taken seriously. You know what I'm talking about? And we're going to look at when they did this, when they laughed and mocked at him in a moment. Also, your synonyms for that are disrespectful, disdain, and scornful. And do you see how that goes into what he said in Psalms 1, to not sit in the seat of the scornful. You know what I'm talking about? And then there's a couple other things, but that's neither here nor there. Let me see what another one. Now, scurrility. Let's see what you get for scurrility. See, I would advise, shalom, brother Shaul. See, when I was younger, we used to just sit and read a dictionary. Go to the bathroom, got to take a dump, take the dictionary with you. Because if you want to find a way of making sure that a child doesn't have a limited manner to communicate or to not descend in using foul language, then his vocabulary has to be built. The average person, like people are like, people like lately the thing, have emotional vocabulary. Most people don't communicate well because they don't speak well. Most people don't speak well because they don't take the time to actually work. They don't take the time to learn words to actually convey what they're thinking or feeling. Like that lady kept talking about emotional vocabulary, but it's not even emotional vocabulary. Most people don't know how to talk at all about anything, especially anything of substance. Most people can't find the words to do it. Most people are not articulate in general. You know what I'm saying? And that's not an intelligence issue. Articulation is not something that's the same thing we was talking about with leadership. Articulation comes from practice. You can learn to be articulate. You have to have a desire to be articulate. You have to put in the work to be able to properly communicate. Most people don't do that. know what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. There's some people who are natural orators. Like you can look at Malcolm X and see that he was a natural speaker. He didn't need much to be able. See, it's a lot of things to be a natural speaker. You know how the most part that most people don't speak well because they say a lot of ums, ahs, pauses. That's the evidence of somebody who doesn't speak well. Because they're looking for filler words because they don't have the ability to let their thoughts out. I'm not even talking about good English or broken English. I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about Shalom, Brother Reynolds. I'm talking about strictly having the ability to communicate and articulate your thoughts in a clear and a concise manner. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know how to do that. And the one thing you don't want your children to be accustomed to is speaking with slang. Not because there's anything wrong with slang, but then they won't have the ability to actually hold a conversation. You know what I'm talking about? And that's going to be very inhibitive to their development and growth in other areas of life. See, now you would want them to be skilled enough to where they knew that hey, if I had to slide over here with these street dudes, I could be able to politic with them. And if I could slide over here with these people in these suits, I could be able to communicate and politic with them. See, that's a special type of individual. Everybody's not like that. You know what I'm saying? You would want to. That's what, and I'm only mentioning that word why, because that's what Paul meant. But I become all things to all people. I can be able to relate and communicate to whoever I come across. I done met people who teach the word that say they can't talk to street dudes or people in the street. They don't know how to communicate to them. They don't know how to talk to them. They don't know how to relate to them. And the reason why they don't do it because they know the way that they would do it, it would be condescending. You know what I'm saying? Because they would talk to these men like they're stupid. Like you could use a multitude of words in your vocabulary talking to dudes in the street, but if they can tell that that's how you talk and that you're not talking down to them or you're not trying to talk like you trying to sound like them, they're going to listen to what you got to say anyway. People just want you to be authentic. But nevertheless, that's another matter. But I would always recommend that you be able to sharpen the way that you speak. You know what I'm saying? People take that people take you a lot more seriously in that regard when you know how to communicate. What I mean by that is they're less than likely to try to play mental gymnastics or be disrespectful in their back and forth with you. If you talk a particular way and the person think you stupid, then they're going to try to get over on you. And trust and believe the way you talk, people are already judging your intelligence level when you're talking to them. You know what I'm talking about? They're judging it all especially if you're dealing with people who get into some money. You know what I'm saying? They definitely judging the way that you talk. And you might could fool them and you might not. But nevertheless, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? You can take with that information and do with it what you want. I think scurrilous is making scandalous claims about someone or basically joking of a scandalous nature. So when you're telling the joke as a means to demean and defame someone's character. That's what scurrilous means, or scurrility, as far as that is concerned. Because I know a lot of people look at jesting and they're looking at it and it's talking about jokes, but it's not talking about jokes. It's talking about someone who is mocking and ridiculing and slandering an individual for the purpose of disrespect. And anybody who is a saint is not supposed to do that. You know what I'm talking about? And why is that the case? Because we're going to look at it in a moment. It's what they did to the Lord. And as it goes back to when he said, don't sit, blessed is he that don't sit amongst the scornful. You know what I'm talking about? And also foolish talking. And then I think we looked at something the other day when it came to foolish talking. Foolish talking is simply that, silly talk, buffoonery. So what is silly talk and buffoonery? It's conversations of no consequence. You know what I'm saying? So when it's talking about foolish talk or buffoonery, it's not even looking in the aspect of humor, how we would look at it. It's how many of you have walked past or sat down with a group of men who were talking about absolutely idiotic topics? You know what I'm saying? So he's saying a saint shouldn't be sitting around talking about nothing. You know what I'm talking about? And making it seem like that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, let me see what he's looking at. Oh no, I can tell you from personal experience, Brother Shaul, that is not an actual fact. Brother Shaul said for him personally, if one can read the scriptures, they can hold a conversation. I have met many men who read scriptures and cannot hold a conversation. You know what I'm saying? And see, when we're talking about holding a conversation, see, we're not just talking about just talking. An individual who holds a conversation, he would have to have the ability and perception to hear what the other person is saying, discern what the other person is saying, be able to understand what the other person is saying, have a back and forth with that person about what is being said, even if you're not talking about two people trying to agree or disagree on a matter, and then actually have the ability to have layers attached to that conversation. Like I can tell you how I don't even want to say dense, how light people have conversations. I seen a video where a dude was talking about this man say he's an emotional attachment coach. That's the world we live in now. That's what a nigga do for a living. But he said he learned that he decided to good in that field dealing with his mama. He said his mama called the police on him because he beat up one of her boyfriends because every boyfriend she ever had beat her up. You know what I'm saying? And he asked her, like, why you did that. And after he, told his story, his background, the women say, I so appreciate you being vulnerable. But see, this is the key. That's not vulnerability. See, I'm only mentioning that because you can tell a woman a story and she'll think you're being vulnerable and showing all manner of weakness when all you were describing was, this is how I got into this field. Because vulnerability is weakness. He didn't display any weakness in this conversation. He said, man, when I was younger, my mama used to mess with niggas who beat her up. She said she wanted certain type of men, but she knew she couldn't get the men because who would want her because she poor in the projects and on welfare. Ain't nobody gonna want me. You know what I'm saying? He said, well, it's a nice guy around the corner. He'll like it. He's short. You know I like tall men. And every man she was with beat up. He said when he got older, you know what I'm talking about? He got his homeboys. They went around there, caught one of them dudes who jumped on her. They beat him up. She called the police on him. She said, because baby, you trying to take my happiness. Now, see, this is what I'm telling you. When a woman hear that, everything, that's so vulnerable. You gave it. But he didn't give her any part about himself whatsoever. He told you how he got into a field of study and an occupation based off observation of his mother and saying, let me help other people so they don't think like my mama. There's no vulnerability in that. He didn't share any emotions. He didn't share his thought process. I'm talking about for him individually. He didn't share a thought process of how, so you know would have been vulnerability if he would have talked about what his thought process was as a child watching his mama get whooped. You know what I'm saying? What went through his mind when he seen that? What emotions did he feel? How did he feel as a young boy watching that? See, that's vulnerability. Me telling you I beat a nigga up when I was 16, 17 years old for jumping on my mama because she's stupid. That ain't no vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I mean on most people don't know how to have a conversation, because if you'd have a conversation, then you would know he didn't give a vulnerability. He told a story. He told a story how he went from point A to point B. Because most people don't want to actually deal with people's emotions because most people don't know how to deal with them. If somebody actually came to you and dropped their emotions at your feet, most people not going to know how to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? Now, the brother said something, and maybe you brothers agree and maybe you don't. He said he believed men are more emotional than women. And maybe that's true and maybe it's not. You know what I'm talking about? But he did make the point of saying that, what did he say? That men know how to moderate their emotions and women do not. But I will say that, yeah, men may have just as much emotions, maybe more than women, only because I view emotions as being what the text describes them as, and that's your flesh. And when you're dealing with the ragings of the flesh, I don't think one gender is more than the other. Both are subject to the flesh, and everybody as men are subject to like passions. And you know what I'm saying? When we look at women being emotional, all we think about is y'all being hysterical and crying for no reason and not knowing why you're crying. You know what I'm talking about? But it's being emotional. It's a lot more to it than that. Lot more to it than that. But nevertheless, do you get that out of that Ephesians 5? That's what I went there for. He said that anybody who in the word, they shouldn't be behaving in such a fashion. Let's return back to Job 30, by the way. Now he says, those that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers would I have disdained to set with the dogs of my flock. What do y'all think that means? Disdain, just so y'all know, that is ma'as, and that is to be rejected. That is the same word that is used for reprobate. So these are men who would be rejected from being with the dogs of his flock. Of course, dogs of flock is literal dog, but also someone of contempt or abasement. So listen to what he's saying. The men who mocked him. You understand? The men who mocked him, and this is Job talking. He said he wouldn't even set them with the lowest of his flock. You understand? What does that mean? Let me show you. 1 Corinthians chapter 1. One and 27, I believe. You can make it 1 and 25. Because the foolishness of Elohim, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 25. Because the foolishness of Elohim is wiser than men, and the weakness of Elohim is stronger than men. For you see, you're calling brethren, how not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble. Elohim have chosen the foolish things out of this world to confound the wise. Elohim have chosen the weak things of the world to confound them, things which are mighty, and the base things of the world and the things which are despised have Elohim chosen, the things which are not, to bring to naught the things that are, that no flesh should esteem in his presence. So do you know who some of the people who were the least amongst them? David would have considered to been considered to be one of the least. Gideon actually said he was the least in his father's house. You know what I'm talking about? And I'm just trying to give you a baseline of what that meant. Where Yahushua came from, he was considered to be one of the least. Let's take a look at that in John chapter 1, just on general principle. John chapter 1, verse 43. The day following, Yahushua would go forth into Galilee and find Philip and said unto him, follow me. Now Philip was of Bethesda, the city of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and said unto him, we have found him of whom Moses in the law and the prophets did write, Yahushua of Nazareth, the son of Joseph. And Nathanael said unto him, can there any good thing come out of Nazareth? Philip said unto him, come and see. You understand that? You know, coming out of Nazareth, he was coming from the slums. So they considered that he would be coming from something that was held in contempt or abased unto others. Remember what this verse said? He's saying that I wouldn't even set some of you men who are mocking me with the lowest of the dogs of my flock. Well, when they say dogs, of course, it's going to be Caleb, and it's not male temple prostitute here or a literal dog. It's something that's held with contempt or abasement. So those who are held with the greatest manner of contempt, those who are the lowest, because that's what a base means, to be the lowest. I won't even set you who mock me with the lowest of my flock. Where does that come in at with the lowest of the flock? Come over here to 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Now, Moses wasn't considered lowest because he was called Pharaoh's son or Pharaoh's daughter's son or son of that sort of high estate. And he just rejected that and slid. You know what I'm talking about? And I mean, what it was is his mother worked for Pharaoh and she just didn't want to kill her baby. But he wasn't considered to be a base because he wasn't coming from a low position. What is 1 Corinthians 12? Yeah, 1 Corinthians 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 22. We'll make it 19. First Corinthians chapter 12, verse 19. You know, I need to go back even further. Verse 14. For the body is not one member, but many. If the foot shall say, because I am not the hand, am I not of the body, is therefore not of the body? And if the ear shall say, because I am not the eye, am I not of the body? Is it therefore not of the body? For if the whole body and eye, which the hearing? If the whole hearing, which were the smelling? But now Elohim has set members, every one of them in the body as it hath pleased him. And if they were all one member, where the body, but now many members, yet but one body. The eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of you, nor the head, again, the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary, and those of the body which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely have more abundant comeliness. For our comely have no need, but Elohim have tempered the body together, having given more abundant honor to that which lacked, that there should be no schism in the body, but the members should have same care one for another. Whether one member suffer, all members suffer with it, or if one member be honored, all the members rejoice with it. Now you are the body of Hamashiach and members in particular. Elohim set some in the house, first apostles, secondarily prophets, third teachers, after that miracles, then gifts of healings, helps, governments, and diversity of tongues. All apostles, all prophets, all teachers, all workers of miracles, have all the gifts of healing, do all speak with tongues, do all interpret, but covet earnestly the best gifts from esteem. Oh, I'm sorry, because now that page is gone. So however that ended, that's just how that ended, because that page is not on there. What does that mean? Because a lot of people look at that, right? The average person who in the word right now, they'll read that passage and they'll think about money. See, I'm going to be honest with you. When it comes to men, money is the greatest way to show a man's insecurity and how he feel about himself. You know what I'm talking about? See, because we was in the clubhouse room with a dude. He had a room. He talking about, do women submit more to their boss than to their husband? I say in reality, most women ain't even submitting to their boss. That's middle management, who they dealing with. They're not even dealing with the dude who actually called the shots. Like, let's just say this example. You a teacher. Your boss is the principal, but your boss really ain't the principal. Your boss is the superintendent. You know what I'm saying? But she's never going to meet the superintendent. You know what I'm talking about? To actually submit to him. She would be actually submitting to her principal, who the principal is submitting to whom's over them, which in reality, they're submitting to the school board, and the school board is submitting to the superintendent because he the one got the last say. You know what I'm talking about? That's how that works. But as we were talking to the dude and dude was mentioning something, I say, truth be told, man, if you young and you fooling with a chick, man, because he was like, man, if you get a woman, how you gonna know she loyal to you if you already got money? I say, now you sound like a buster. I say, you sound like a nigga who pay your way. You know what I'm saying? That's how you sounding. Because we told him, bro, if you broke, how your meat get hard anyway? You know what I'm talking about? If you broke, how as a woman, see, it's different in your early 20s. You're supposed to be broke. You know what I'm talking about? 18, 19, 20, 21. I expect you to be broke. But you old 27, 28-year-old nigga, 30-year-old nigga, 33-year-old nigga, you worry about a woman, you ain't got no money. Like, that's your concern. He was like, he wasn't listening. You know what I'm talking about? And see, I mentioned all that there because mentioning that, hey, man, get yourself together. We already know. I told this dude this. I think I told y'all this the other day, but if I didn't, I'll tell you now. Most dudes don't get attention from women. Most dudes don't start getting attention from women till they get some type of notoriety or some money. And you can always tell niggas who if they got some money, if they got attention from women before they got money. Because of how they. You know what I'm saying? When you see a nigga, he be like, ooh, boy, I'm gonna knock all these hoes. You can tell that boy wasn't getting no women unless he just a horn dog. Because you got some dudes, they just horny. And they'll sleep with anything. You know what I'm saying? But a dude who used to getting women, he's not impressed by a bunch of attractive women coming in him, or even more so, giving him attention. Oh, you know, you find that nigga already know you only saying that because you seen the car I pulled up in. I'm not impressed by that hoe. That don't move me. You know what I'm saying? But the average dude, that's not his reality. That's not his reality. You know what I'm saying? He don't get attention from women. So I'm like I said, I'm mentioning this here because if you want to see the insecurity of a man, all you got to do is talk about what he produces or what he don't produce. When you hear nigga, money don't even matter. That's the nigga he know. That nigga sorry. When you hear a grown man say money don't matter in the overall scope of who he is as a man, I can guarantee you that nigga broke. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that also, that means that he'll come across a woman and he'll try to convince this woman that she should accept poverty. You know what I'm saying? One point they kept mentioning was like a woman should submit anyway. Yeah, but nigga, she not your wife. What did she say? Nigga, you broke, nigga. Like you can't come through being no broke nigga and then thinking that you gonna lay down some law. Man, look here, man. We were talking about this earlier, man. Man, you can't come to no woman, man, and she going half on the rent with you, bro. You ain't paying the cost to be the boss to lay down no rules. You can't lay down no rules, my G. That's just like somebody, if you sit there and you work at a company, right? And the middle manager or the manager above him trying to, nigga, you don't pay the cost to be the boss. Ain't nobody respecting you, my G. You don't put nothing up. You ain't made no sacrifice. I'm not trying to hear what you talking about when it comes to that. I'm going to do my job because I know what my job entails. But I ain't going to, but what I mean by that is if your manager come to you, right, and ask you to do something that's outside the scope of your job, you're going to look, this nigga crazy as hell. I ain't doing that. But if it's the owner and you know he pay that cost and he asked you to do that, you might be more inclined to do it because you know, shoot, that nigga pay for everything. He pay for everything. It's a different look at him in the face and be like, that ain't in my job description. Versus the man who you know, like, oh, he paid the lights, he paid the salary, he bought the uniform, he paid for everything. So as a man, you can't come to no woman and say, go half on some bills with me, bro, and then thinking she's supposed to submit to you, nigga. You, as far as she concerned, nigga, you are equal. Y'all roommates, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now, I ain't telling you that every woman is going to be like that, but I'm just telling you, if you want to rule, then you got to do what's necessary to rule. And you can't be ruling, boy, if she kicking down. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't talking about kicking down like she bring the money to you and you take the money and you do what's necessary for the family. I'm talking about she kicking down, bro. The rent $1,500 and she dropping $750. You know what I'm talking about? Nah, bro, you're not going to get what you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? And when you say that to most of these dudes, they get tight. They get in their feelings. You know what I'm talking about? Because at the end of the day, what is a man measured by? Because the brother asked, what is masculinity? And we explained to him what was masculinity. And you know what that man went to? You don't need no money. Bro, this man actually had the nerve to say that you don't have to have money. You can be poor and have power. You're not going to have power. Nowhere in the history of mankind did anybody have power that didn't have any resources. Abraham had resources. Yahushua had resources. They may have not been natural resources, you know what I'm talking about? But he had resources. You can't be a ruler. You can't call yourself a king and a ruler and expect to have dominion and be poor. Would you submit yourself to a poor king? You're not going to do it. And you know what I'm talking about? And you could go look at history and you can feel any way you want to feel. That's never happened. And it never will. Even in your kingdom that you all desire to get into, guess what you're going to have an abundance of? Riches and resources. And guess what he said those people would do with their riches and resources? Bring it to you. When you left out of Egypt, what did you leave with? Resources. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you're left with. Guess what people do when they overthrow another kingdom? They take the resources. What did he say you would do to the Egyptians on your way out the door? Spoil them. What did he say you're going to do to these nations when you leave? Spoil them. You know what I'm talking about? That's how that works. You can't have power and not have nothing. That's not how that works. You ain't got to like it. It just is what it is. It's just a part of manhood. You can't have power and you ain't got nothing. How you got power? You live in a cardboard box. What power you got? You know what I'm saying? You ain't got none. You ain't got none. You know what I'm talking about? I know, but we talking about on the natural tip, man. Cause see, nigga, when I was broke and ain't had no money, nigga, I'm talking about young man hustling, knowing I can't really, nigga, I ain't got no power, I ain't got no money. And when I'm talking about power, I'm not talking about power to rule over people. I'm not talking about power to rule over lands. I'm talking about power in your own life. Man, you know how powerless a man feel if he can't buy what he want when he want it. I ain't talking about no extra stuff. I'm talking about you hungry, you can't buy no food. You ain't got no power. Because you ain't got power over your own life. So if you ain't got power over your own life, who gonna listen to you? Well, who's gonna listen to you? Ain't nobody gonna listen to you because they nobody want to be like you. Don't nobody want to imitate you. You know what I'm saying? Now, you know the difference between Yahushua when he preached the word. What did they say? Them people say he spoke with authority. Say he didn't speak like the scribe spoke. There was a level of power in his speech. That's what intrigued some of the people. I want to listen to him. He got some type of power and authority that these men ain't got. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. And guess what women are attracted to? I learned this at a very early age. Power. You can't be no nigga crying about what you ain't got and expecting to have no power with no woman, man. That's not how it works, bro. It's not how that works. When this woman hear you crying about, man, if you hear a nigga crying about these women don't do this and these women don't do that, he ain't got no power in his life. You know what I'm talking about? See, when you talking about power in your life, you're talking about having control. You don't control nothing in your life. That's why you're complaining all the time. You know what I'm talking about? About what you're not getting and what these people not doing. Man, this used to be nigga call my phone, man, talking about the white man. I used to cuss this nigga out. Man, get off my phone, bro. Don't never call my phone talking about what this white man ain't letting you do. Ain't no magical white man showing up at your door stopping you from doing nothing. You know what I'm talking about? Man, take control and power in your own life. You stopping you. And you sound like a woman. Because women blame other people and outside factors for not getting what they want. Men ain't supposed to do that. You know what I'm saying? We're just supposed to say, hey, shoot, I suck right now. I'm underperforming. I made a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I overestimated this here. I took a risk, blew up in my face. You know what I'm saying? That's not to say that you can't understand why it went that way, but before you even go to talking about why it went that way, you just acknowledging I made a bad move. You know what I'm saying? I made a bad move. Well, what happened? Went down like this. Thought it was going to go like this. Didn't go how I planned it. You know what I'm saying? I'll readjust. See, that's the hallmark of a man. See, bruh said this on the stream, and I'll move on, man. Bruh said this on, not on the stream, but in the room. Wednesday when dude was talking. And then Jason Black posted the same thing. He say, bro, how you gonna want a woman to be with your potential? Potential means absolutely nothing. Especially if you ain't got no man. You run across a nigga, he talking about be with me for my potential on and run away. You know what I'm saying? See his potential on, if he doing certain things on a small level and he's still pushing, overcoming, dealing with this, that, there, and the third, and he producing stuff, that's your potential right there. Because if he can do, what does the book tell you? If you're faithful in little, you're faithful in much. So if you see this nigga's putting his hand to the plow, he focused, he driven, he doing this, that, there, and the third, the likelihood of that actually producing something later is higher. Versus a nigga looking at you like, I have dreams, baby. Believe in me and my potential. You can't bet your life on potential, man. You know what I'm saying? See, that's what they do in sports. They draft somebody on their potential. They don't actually know if he's going to be good or not. As good as LeBron James was, they say he's a can't-miss prospect, but at the end of the day, it was still potential because you didn't really know. You could think you know. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can say whatever they want. Hey, man, playing at high school is something totally different than playing with grown men. Even if you believe that he was going to be as great as he is right now, it was still potential because you didn't know. And you know why you didn't know? Because he hadn't done it before. You know what I'm talking about? And it's just that simple. Ain't no potential with Yahuwah. I potentially believe that he can be a very righteous man. Oh, no, you're just going to have to do it. You're not going to know till he puts you in a position to try your heart to see what's in it. And then you're going to know. There is no potential. Don't be looking. You can look at this as a potential investment, but guess what that means? This is an investment that I don't know how it's going to go. I actually have to do some due diligence to see if it's going to actually pay off. But when you talk about people, look here, man, that's your vagina. You can do what you want to with it. But you a damn fool. You try to give your vagina to a nigga based on what you think he can be. You better know what he can be. That's your life you dealing with. You got a nigga he don't like to get up and do nothing. Nigga always complaining and crying. If you got to push a nigga out the door, like some people say, some brothers need encouragement. Well, if you need a woman to encourage you to go get your money, nigga, you's a buster. You should already been driven to do what you need to do long before you even knew the woman existed on the earth. If you needed a woman to encourage you to stay serving Yahuwah, you got a problem. Because 9 times out of 10, unless y'all came in the word together, you know what I'm talking about? If you was already in the word and you met her, what you need her to encourage to what you were doing before you met her. I'm only saying that because the brother kept putting the onus on he needed a woman to do X, Y, Z. As a man, you should have already been doing these things before you got a woman. So if you need a woman to motivate you and inspire you to do what you were already doing before you met her, you got a problem. Now, if you weren't doing it before you met her, I ain't got nothing to say about that. You know what I'm saying? But if you were doing all these things before you met this person, how you in the word? Now, don't get me wrong. The encouragement can come in if something happens. You know, stuff happens. You know, you might get a little discouraged. You've been discouraged before? Was it discouraged by something you did or just something that was going on around you? Because if it's something you did, you got to push that to the side. That's not discouraging. That's somebody being stupid and you feeling sorry for yourself. You know what I'm talking about? That's different. You might need somebody to come give you a word in due season. You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's something, okay, you did it, he say, hey, man, if you be buffeted for your faults, just deal with that. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's different. That's not, I need some words of encouragement. And you, not you specific, and you've been out here having sex with all these different people. You don't need no words of encouragement. You're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? You've been out here getting drunk every day. That's one of the reasons why I told y'all in the past, man, if you knew you had a problem with alcohol, don't be trying to talk about, oh, well, shoot, you know, it ain't unlawful to drink because you're setting yourself up. You know what I'm saying? You set yourself up. If you know where you're weak at, don't set yourself up because then you'll be sitting there, this is my 6th bottle of wine. Then you know what happens after the 6 bottles of wine? Let's go get some yak. You know what I'm talking about? What'd you say?
I thought you was going to say something else.
Oh.
I was prepared for it.
Oh, you thought you were going to get a joke?
Yes.
Oh,
no, not me, but I thought you was going to say something else.
I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was bracing myself for it.
Oh, no, I ain't had that on my mind. I ain't had nothing on my mind other than what I'm talking about. No, but I mean, it'd be a progression. It'd be a progression because you got to know yourself. And you know you don't, that ain't what you, if you knew what you was beforehand, you can't go back and then now you drunk and now you feeling bad for yourself and you want somebody to encourage you in your stupidity. Let me show you what I'm talking about. 1 Peter chapter 2. I say I mentioned all that because that's linked to Esau and that birthright. Now you don't get the blessing because you stupid. And now you want to sit here and cry and want somebody to give you some encouragement in your stupidity. That's not how that works. That is not how that works. 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 19, then we come back to Job 30. For this thankworthy, if a man for conscience towards Elohim endure grief, suffering wrongfully. He say, for what esteem if when you be buffeted for your faults, I don't know what that is. If you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently. But if when you do well and suffer, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with Elohim. What did that mean? If you ain't did nothing wrong and you suffer for the word, Yahuwah will accept that. But if you done been stupid and you get bust upside your head, then you just gonna have to deal with that. Because ain't no esteem from Elohim in that. See, what is an example of that? When Saul got bust up his head, there was no esteem when he got buffeted for his faults. You know what I'm talking about? But say when Absalom, when Saul was doing what he was doing to David, and David took that, that was esteem to God on his behalf because he suffered and he had done nothing wrong. God bless Brother Langford. You see, understand that? He didn't do nothing wrong. This still relates to the mocking in Job 30. I know it might seem like it don't, but it do. Come on here, look at verse 2, Job 30, I believe. That might be all I want. It's another one. It's in my brain, but the chapter is escaping me. I want to say it's chapter 29. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Yeah, there it is. There it is. It was in 30. I'm bugging. Verse 2. Yea, whereto the strength of their hands, me, and whom old age was perished. For want and famine, solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in the former time, desolate and waste. Who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots, their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief, to dwell in the cliffs and the valley, in the caves of the earth and the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. Children of fools, yea, children of base men, they were viler than the earth, and now I'm their song, my word, they abhor me. When we look at children of fools, and that was Nabal, who was looking at Nabal at. What is this boy got going? So, of course, fools is, of course, Nabal. Y'all know who Nabal is, right? Who is Nabal? Glory. But yeah, I know. That's Abigail's husband. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. Don't be a Nabal. You don't want to key points about Nabal. You couldn't tell him nothing. Let me tell you something, man. When you're dealing with a man and you can't tell him nothing, that's a dangerous man. You know what I'm saying? You know why he a dangerous man? Because that's a man who 9 times out of 10, who is determined to do something to. Because he won't receive any correction. He won't receive any advice. He won't receive any counsel. Base men. What do you have with base men? Of course, that's Shem. And you know that name. Famous. These are famous men. Men of renown. What does that mean? What does that relate to? And they were viler than the earth. What is viler? That is nakah. You know what nakah means? It means to strike, to scourge, to smite. These men are killers. The sons of Nabal, sons of famous men, viler or striking and smiting in the earth. And now he is their song and their byword. This relates to something in the Gospels. Who can tell me what it is? Byword is malah, word, speech, or utterance, if you would. Somebody who would be spoken against. He said, they abhor me and they spit in my face. Abhor is ta'al, and that is to hate, to find abominable, to loathe. Does anybody have any idea what this verse 8, 9, and 10 would go to in the gospel? If you don't know, it's okay. Because I'm going to take you around there. I'm going to help you out. Anybody, before I put that on out there, I want to give you a second, but I ain't finna spend an inordinate amount of time waiting on it. That's no disrespect. You have to look at, he said that the children of the ball, children of base men, the children of famous men, because you got Shem there. So they're children of famous men, men of renown. They're the children of fools. Anybody? We have 48:15. I give you till 49 minutes or 45 more seconds. Y'all probably can't see the clock on y'all end anyway. And then I'll go ahead and direct you where we need to go. Man, them niggas scraped my doggone hamstrings the other day. Them hoes felt great for about 10 minutes. No, not even 10 minutes till I started to have to work. I had a lady do it this time. She was better than the dude. No, they just take something, man. They take some junk and some type of bar.
Or was you less tense because it was on you?
No. I think she just was better at it than he was. All right, y'all, come over here to Luke 11:45. No, you know what it was? She did a process before she started doing the scraping that he didn't do. That's why. I forgot about that. Yeah, he don't even want to do that. I think just go straight to the scraping. She did some tissue kneading before she did the scraping. Yeah, that's what it was. I had to think about it. That was the difference. That's why she was better. Yes, sir. Handle your business, my G. Luke 11:45. Then answered one of the lawyers and said to him, Master, thus say you saying, you reproach us also? Woe unto you also, lawyers, for you laid men with burdens grievous to be borne, and you yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers. Woe unto you, for you build the sepulchres of the prophets, and your fathers killed them. Truly, you bear witness that you allow the deeds of your fathers, for you indeed killed them, and you build their sepulchres. Therefore also said the wisdom of Elohim, I will send them prophets and apostles, and of them they shall slay and persecute. That the blood of all the prophets which was shed from the beginning, from the foundation of the world, may be required of this generation. From the blood of Abel unto the blood of Zacharias was perished between the altar and the temple. Truly I say unto you, it shall be required of this generation. So what is he telling you? The blood of every righteous man was going to be required during that period of time. How was the blood of every righteous man required at the hands of those people at that particular period of time? Who can answer me that? Let's look at Matthew 23 for some little different verbiage of the same topic. I'm going to read that to give you a chance to think on how was the blood, because remember I mentioned this Wednesday, Genesis 9, right? The image of man, whoever slay man in the image of who the image of Elohim, he got to be killed by man. So Mashiach said the blood from Abel all the way to Zacharias is going to be required. Every righteous man who had ever been killed at any point in time in history, he said it was going to be required of that generation. That means it was going to be required of those people in that time. Matthew 23. Verse 29. Amen, Brother Saul. Matthew 23, verse 29. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, behold, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the sepulchres of the righteous. In the days of our fathers, we have not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves that you are the sons of them which killed the prophets. Do you see how they were the sons of fools? The sons of base men, or men, and they abhorred him. They loathed him. We're going to read that in a moment in John 15. They loathed him and they spit in his face. That's what Job said, right? And you know why they did this? Because we still got to look at the mocking, the scorn. He said, don't be having any jesting. It's not convenient. The slanderous ridicule and jokes. Because like I say, derision is to laugh, to make play, to jest at, to mock. You know, that's what they did to Samson, right? Remember, it said they made sport out of Samson. That means they made him a mocking. You know what I'm saying? So when you looking at jest, again, I just want you to understand the context of what it means to jest. It's not about cracking jokes. It's about mocking a righteous individual or mocking that which is to be taken seriously. Mashiach was on a tree being crucified for the salvation of man and the redemption of the covenant of the house of Yasharal, and they were making it a light matter. You know what I'm talking about? And this is all stemming to blessed are those who don't sit among the scornful. And why you ain't supposed to sit around people who do that. He said, you blessed if you don't sit around people who do that. He said, you blessed if you don't stand in the way of sinners, if you don't fool what these people got going on. Then he said, you'll be like the tree of life. I think we ended with that on Wednesday, talking about how that meant a branch, and that you'll be the branch in him that bring forth fruit in its season. What would be that fruit? It would be the fruits of the spirit, because you would be that tree and you would produce the faith, the peace, the love. See, everybody talk about the fruits of the spirit. The fruits of the spirit is not something that you do. It is a byproduct of faith. It's a byproduct of the seed falling in your heart, you dying, allowing the seed to actually grow. And then that seed, which is the word of Elohim, would show forth the product or the revenue that come from that seed. See, you can be meek and still not have the fruits of the spirit. That doesn't mean you have the spirit. You can have discipline. That don't mean you have the spirit. That's not what that means. You just can't do that and know that means I have it. Because that's what a lot of Hebrews believe. I can just do X, Y, Z and I got it. See, you know what I'm saying? See, my dogs, he on right now. And you know what he talking about? Is the law of Moses' death. Guess what? We all know what it is. It is. Does that mean that there's something wrong with the law? Absolutely not. But it can't give you the thing that everybody deems to be most precious, and that's life. Do you remember what it says in Psalms 49? He say, which of you by any means can redeem your brother from death? The law cannot redeem you from death. And if anybody says that it can, they are a fool. And why are they a fool? Because they lying to themselves. Because nowhere in the law does it says, I can buy you back from death. Because that's what redeem mean in Hebrew. That's to purchase, kinsman redeemer, to make an atonement for. If you want to deal with kafar or reconciliation, the law doesn't prescribe for that. Does that mean anything wrong with the law? Absolutely not. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But for that particular task, it can't give you what you're looking for. Once you break it, it can't give you life. Because death is on your head. See, when, like I said, them brothers was in that room talking about why people hate the Bible, and you could tell people hate the Bible because they don't know what's in it. Then some people who was in there were saying this morning they hated it because they said it's not that they hated it, they hate people who take it and misinterpret it. Well, if you know people are taking it and misinterpret it, then you shouldn't even have no angst. You shouldn't even be in part of this conversation. But then there was a brother, he was talking about this here. He said, what type of God would allow? They got upset because I told him. I said, man, look here, man. I said, I had to put it to him like this here, right? You know, it tells, right, you can take servants, right, of other nations. I say, bro, that's the part of going to war. I say, because you live in a first world country and you've never seen war at your front door, and you've never lived in a period of history where people go to war and conquer lands, you don't understand that that has been the case from day one. If you go in and take over a land, you possess the people of that land. And if you don't think you're going to possess them people of that land, you're not a man, you a coward. That means you ain't fit to rule. Because guess what's going to happen if you don't take them people and rule over them? Them people going to be plotting on the day that they can overthrow you and kill you, dummy. You know what I'm talking about? You think they're going to be sitting there hugging and loving you, nigga? Do you not remember what this book say? That the nations were angry. That their kingdoms become whose kingdoms? Yahuwah's kingdom. How you think Satan able to come out his pit and deceive the nations with Gog and Magog to come up against Jerusalem to want to fight? They angry, they mad. They don't want to be subject to you. And it's not because you're black. It's not because you're an Israelite. It's because I don't want to be subject to another, and I'm willing to fight to overthrow them to take my power back. But see, you don't understand that because you're not dealing with men. You're hanging with your mom and them, with your aunties and your grandmas. They don't think like this. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to deal with reality. Man, you go in another country and overthrow it, boy, you're going to rule over them people, man. If you don't, they're going to kill you. Because guess what? What did Yahuwah tell you to do when you overthrew the land of Canaan? What he said to do? Oh, you're not familiar? Are you familiar? He said, kill them all. Man, I remember before I knew anything about the word, man, I remember reading that. He said the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, the Girgashites, he said, kill them all. He said, every woman who done laid with a man, kill her too. Kill them all. Don't leave none of them alive. And you remember what he said, what happened because you wouldn't want to drive them people out? He said he'd leave them to be a thorn in your side because them people would always provoke you to serve their God because he said kill them all. You don't remember what Elisha told the king when he said you should have stepped on them arrow about 6-7 times. Made sure they were gone. You hit him 2-3 times and stop. Man, Elisha was hot with that dude. Like, nigga, you's a fool. You should have killed them all. These people going to cause you problems. But you know what niggas think? They think like a woman. They think if I just be nice to them and be benevolent, they going to love me. They not. They don't have any kinship to you. They don't have any. You know what they look at you? You know what they see when they look at you? You the nigga who took my land. You the nigga who took my resources. You the person who took my power. They're not looking at you with condemnation. They're looking at you with condemnation and disdain. Hoping for, remember what it said about, what did it say that the Pharaoh said after Joseph had them passed away? Do you recall what the book of Exodus said that Pharaoh after Joseph had them passed away? Who can tell me what the book say Pharaoh said after Joseph had passed away? See, people be living in a fantasy land, man. You're not dealing in real life because you're not thinking like a man. When I say thinking like a man, I'm talking about thinking like a ruler. Think about somebody who's seeking to have domain. To have domain, blood got to be shed. Man, you don't understand? Look here, right? Didn't y'all have to shed blood to get in the land? Didn't people just give you the land or did you have to shed blood? And guess what Yahushua gonna have to do to conquer the world? Guess what he gonna do? Shed blood. What did David do to expand your borders? He had to shed blood. That's not how this works. And the dude getting upset what type of God had, if Yahuwah stamp having a servant or a slave, whatever you want to call it, I ain't got no problem with it. Oh, I bet you wouldn't. I said, man, I'm not finna argue with you, bro. I ain't got no problem with it, man. Man, I ain't got no problem with nothing that Yahuwah ain't got no problem with. I ain't got no problem with it. And I ain't apologizing for it. And I ain't explaining nothing to no nigga. Man, I don't owe you no explanation, my nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Period, point blank. I don't owe you nothing.
When he said say
Oh no, you passed that point. What he said when after Joseph died, he said, "Hey man, we're gonna have to put these people under some type of bondage or subjection, lest they join with our enemies and wipe us out." And why do they look at them that way? Because they're not Egyptians, so they don't have any tie to us. There's no reason for these Hebrews to look at us and be like, you know what? They all right. And it ain't got to be no beef or no pressure. It ain't got to be no beef or no pressure. You got to understand that when you're not the same as another person, then they look at you as we have different agendas. Let me read the verse in Exodus for you one time. We come back to Matthew 23. Exodus 1 and 7. Well, Exodus 1 and 6, that's fine. Joseph died and all his brethren and all that generation. The sons of Yasharal were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Mizraim, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the sons of Yasharal, more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply and it come to pass that when they fall out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us and get them up out of the land. At the end of the day, that was his objective, was survival. I can't survive if I let these people continue to prosper in the fashion that they're going to prosper. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit back and look at that. That's oppressive. That's evil. That's rulership, nigga. That's what rulers do. Because guess what? You think if we was in a land that was ours and we was ruling, you think you're going to let a group of people prosper and flourish? Don't you understand when there's some beef rise up, they could link up with the people. They not going to have no loyalty to you, boy. You know what niggas get that thinking? Because niggas tricks. Because you know what a lot of dudes do? They pay a chick and they think they can get her loyalty because they give her money. They buy stuff. They take her here. They take her there. You know what I'm talking about? That's what you think. You can't buy loyalty. You can't buy it. You can't buy dedication. You can't buy commitment. Somebody has to have a bond and a tie to you to be committed to you. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got. Loyalty is a character trait. And if we don't have the same flesh, the same agenda, the same link, I can't be loyal to you. Because loyal means to be dedicated. So why would a Hebrew be dedicated to an Egyptian? Why would an Egyptian be dedicated to a Hebrew? It don't make sense. That's why when you sitting here in America, why is you expecting loyalty from Caucasians? They did not have you in mind when they came over here. They didn't have you in mind. Put the curses to the side. Put the word to the side for a moment and think like a ruler. Stop sitting about colonizer. Niggas been colonizing since man been walking the earth, boy. They ain't did nothing new. It's just their time. And nowhere in the history of mankind did anybody give a damn about the people who they colonized over them. Didn't care. You got to accept that and get out your feelings. You know what I'm talking about? Take control of your life, serve your God, and get out your feelings talking about what these people ain't doing for you. You know what I'm talking about? Why would they? Why would I make you equal with me? See, that don't make sense. Why you think a lot of dudes have problems in their relationships with women? Because what if they sought to do? Make that woman equal with them. And that woman don't look at you as someone now who she should see as an authority figure. Because now I'm the same as you, so I feel like I got just as much power as you. I ain't listening to you. I'm not following you. That's how that works. You don't think them white folks up there know that? That's what it's white supremacy. Man, it's supremacy anywhere you go. Guess what? If you go to China, it's going to be Chinese supremacy. Ain't no white man coming to China running nothing. You know what I'm saying? Coming over there running nothing but his mouth. Because that's not going to happen. This is ours. We run this. We rule it. And guess what you don't see them people over there doing? Fooling with them. Shalom, man. Fooling with them. Because that's theirs. You know what I'm talking about? I can't overtake you. Now, guess what? They don't go over there to North Korea. That's North Korean supremacy over there. They run that. What they say go, that's what it is. They ain't been able to overthrow them. Now, that's North Korea. South Korea is white supremacy because them South Koreans allowed them people to infiltrate and set up military bases and do that. They got a say. When you keep people out, they don't have a say. You know what I'm talking about? So we don't want to accept that. It's Saudi Arabia supremacy. You take your butt over there. Ain't no white man running, ruling nothing over there. You know what I'm talking about? That's not happening. Why you think all them people talking about go to Dubai, but everybody adhere to the Dubai standards of dress when they take themselves over there? That's male and female. Ain't no white supremacy. If it was white supremacy, them white folks would go over there and wear what they want to wear. But they put that stuff on when they go over there because you don't run nothing over here but your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? So you can't sit back and say that. Supremacy is dictated by rulership of the place where you dwell. If you don't rule the land, then you can't have supremacy. Don't cry like a hoe. If you want supremacy, overthrow them. But guess what you ain't going to do? You ain't going to overthrow them. You're going to cry like a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're godly, you're going to wait on Yahuwah and let him do it. You know what I'm talking about? And then you can sit back and you know what? And you can wash their feet in their blood that you might know that there's a reward for the righteous. Ain't God good? See, that's what you can do. See, I'm going to sit back and wait so I can wash my feet in somebody's blood. Because you know what I'm saying? They need a good washing. I'm going to make sure they're good and dirty so I can scrub and get them nice and clean with another man's blood. So, Liz, you know that's in the book. You knew that. Oh, you ain't know that? Well, you finna see today. Come over here to Psalm 58. Thank the Lord. Ain't the Lord good? He always say all you got to do is wait. You can wash their feet in their blood. I'm going to wash. If the Lord allow, I'm going to wash my feet in their blood. I read the whole thing. It ain't that long. Psalm 58, man. We still hold. Shalom, Taylor. We still got Matthew 23. Y'all bear with me, man. I know I'm taking a long route to a quick point, but so what? Do what I want to do. It's raining out there. No, I can hear it hitting the roof. Psalm 58:1. Do you indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do you judge uprightly, O sons of Adam? Yea, in your heart you work wickedness. You weigh violence. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. Now, do you see that? You see, look how the Lord works. You see, we're talking about that in Matthew 20, Luke 12, right? And we're going to see it again in Matthew 23. And it's them base men because they abhor righteousness. All I'm telling you is if you want to be like a tree of life, then you can't sit around scornful, mocking, laughing, and jesting men at righteous deeds, acts, and servants. You have to remove yourself from these people's presence. You can't be hanging with people like that, man. You're not going to be blessed. The wicked are estranged from the womb. It's Psalm 58:3. They go astray as soon as they're born, speaking lies. See, that's that Romans, right? You got some people who are vessels made for destruction. That's what they were born for. Some people were born to go to hell. Some people were born to be destroyed. Accept it. Yahuwah say he's made all things, even the wicked, for the day of evil. Man, look here. That's what I told the people earlier. Man, that man do what he want. They talking about what type of God? I know God ain't good. He let us go into slavery. I said, who are you to tell a man how he gonna punish you for your wrong? Hell wrong with you, you prideful, arrogant bastard. You can't tell nobody how to punish you when they got the power, nigga. He got the power. He can do what he want. And guess what you hear Hebrew? Man, why he had to do us like that? Why you had to do him like that, nigga? Why you ain't think about not blaspheming his name? How you ain't think about taking his name in vain? Why you ain't think about disrespecting him? So you don't want to talk about that. You want to cry about what you did to yourself, nigga. I'm not concerned. And when you see men talk like that, that's how you know that they're their mama's son and not their daddy's. Because if you've been around a man would have told you you're going to have to accept responsibility for the consequences of your choices, nigga. If that's what you choose to do, and that's what came along with it, you got to take that on the chin like a man and handle that. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit around crying, why you had to do me like that? You ain't have to do, like them people seen that lady when she got took to jail because he ain't have to take her to jail. Shut your stupid behind up. You can't tell that man what he's supposed to did. He had it as an authority to do it. He can do it. She should have did what she was supposed to do. She wouldn't have had to suffer that consequence. I don't feel sorry for you. You know what I'm talking about? Man, I told y'all that time I was in that court shooting. That nigga talking about, God got us in here. Nah, bro, I don't want to hear that. Because, nigga, we was selling dope and you was doing whatever you were doing. I'd never get that long as I live, man. I done told y'all that before. I ain't going into depth. I told you straight him down. But that man, don't put that on that man. We got ourselves here. So accept it, nigga. Don't be coming back here praying, hoping to get off. If you was praying for you came in here, you wouldn't have this problem, nigga. I would never one of them dudes go to jail and now all of a sudden I want to open up the Bible and go to prayer call and sing Trouble Don't Last Always. Man, I ain't doing none of that. He know what I'm talking about. But them niggas been uncaught they time in. So they don't, see in prison, they don't be like that, like they be in the county. Nigga, I was in the county with dudes in habitual felony offender court. What does that mean in the state of Florida? If you get deemed to be a habitual felony offender, and I'm a certified habitual felony offender in the state, you know what I'm talking about? You catch a charge, whatever that charge carries, they can double it. You know what I'm saying? See, we don't have no 3 strikes law like in California. You get 3 felonies, they give you a mandatory life sentence. We don't have that. It's habitual felony offender. Any 3 felonies in a 5-year span. You know what I'm saying? But 2 of them can't be 3rd-degree felony possession of cocaine. It can be 1 of the 3, but it can't be 2. Like you can have 2 sales and one possession of cocaine. You're a felony habitual offender. I mentioned that because that's what I have. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. And what that meant, it meant that when I went to trial, I was exposed to a life sentence. So the charges that I had really only carried 15. No, 1 carried 30, 1 carried 15, and that was it. So basically, it carried 45. But since that enhancement was on, it took that one that carried 30 and made it 60. Took that other one that carried like 15 and made it 30. That's basically a PBL. You know what I'm talking about? So you catch a 15-year felony, because this for those of y'all that don't know, in Florida, they have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd-degree felonies. 3rd degree carry 5 years, 2nd degree carry 15, 1st degree carry 30. You know what I'm saying? So if you catch a 30-year felony, now you could be exposed to 60. You know what I'm saying? So when you sit back and you look at that and they certify you as that, you're going to have a problem. But why do you have that problem? You put yourself in these positions to be able to be in this problem. Now, all these dudes are in this dorm, and every time they went to court, they used to put Bible verses in their shoe. You know what I'm saying? These niggas doing all manner. I'll never forget the nigga William Raspberry. That's what the nigga name was. He was in that junk. He went to trial. He lost. Judge gave him 10. You know what this nigga said when he came back? Man, F this Bible. I don't even know if this stuff true. Because you didn't get the outcome that you wanted. But you know why people believe that? Because we don't know what the text say. What the text say? He forgives sin and iniquity, but what he don't do? By no means clear the guilty. So you think because he forgave you, you should get off scot-free with no punishment. But guess what, though? If you've been raised by a man, you know better than that. You know your daddy can say, son, it's okay. He'll still whoop your behind. You know what I'm talking about? He still might take something from you. You got to suffer something for you to understand that this is not acceptable behavior. See, when you don't have a consequence for your behavior, then you believe that you can continue to operate in that behavior. You know what I'm talking about? That has to be a consequence. Women don't usually reinforce consequences for negative behavior. See, they think all that yelling and screaming, you know what I'm talking about? That's actually disciplining a boy. I told you women this before. Don't yell at your son. If you feel the need to yell, you go sit down somewhere. As a man, you shouldn't even allow your wife to yell at your son. You know what I'm talking about? Not because of some type of the rulership, because you don't want. And y'all might not think that, because a lot of people, especially women, think you got to be extra hard with a boy. Discipline him extra hard. That ain't necessarily what he needs. You know what I'm saying? That's why I told you before, you got to set the nigga raising to the side. That junk don't work. If you want to correct somebody, you need to show them the folly of their choice decision making, figure out how they got to the folly of that decision making, and show them how to make better decisions. Also allow them to understand that there's consequences for bad decision making. And if I have to enforce these consequences, that's what I'm going to do. All that yelling and screaming and getting upset, that's because you angry with yourself because you ain't got no self-control to be able to instruct and to correct in a calm fashion. Your Father in heaven don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you this, and I've been telling you this for years, because if you're going to be in the word, then you need to be in the word and set that carnal nigga stuff to the side. You know what I'm talking about? What did he tell you to do? Be perfect like your Father in heaven is perfect. That means you need to raise your offspring in the same way that he would. As a man, you shouldn't necessarily have to raise your voice. You shouldn't have to be doing all that yelling, hollering, and screaming. What does that do? What does that actually teach a child if you walk around the house hollering, yelling, and screaming? That don't teach him nothing. What does he gain from that? How is his behavior being corrected? We ain't talking about when you have to put the daddy voice on and lift it up, let them know you ain't playing. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, because some of y'all grew up in a house with people doing all that yelling, hollering, and screaming at you. You know what I'm saying? And you can sit back and all of you know that when your people came in there with all that hollering and screaming, that ain't do nothing for you. You know what I'm talking about? They ain't do nothing for you. How many times if you was out of pocket, did your people even explain to you that you was out of pocket and why? You know what black people feel like? I don't feel like I need to tell that child that. Why you don't feel like you need to tell that child that, nigga? Why you don't even feel like you need to have a conversation with your child to understand their thought process? Why you feel like that's beneath you? You know what I'm talking about? I never understood that. I've never operated like that before in my life. You know why? Because I was a child. See, it's not some type of great wisdom or understanding. It's because I was a child. So if I knew certain things as a child that, hey, I ain't really care for that or this, that, there, and the third, I wouldn't perpetuate that on another child as I got older just because I feel like I'm a man, I'm older, I got authority over you because I'm an adult. Nigga, that means you got a deep-rooted emotional issue and you need to go talk to somebody. You know what I'm talking about? Because something wrong with you. Because now you feeling like you was insufficient. You feeling like you want to take out the anger that you had towards your people and take it out on this child. You know what I'm saying? This child ain't did nothing to you, man. You know, but black people love this one here. I think you've probably seen the clip with the little girl talking about that. If a child voiced their opinion or their feelings or their thoughts, they being disrespectful. Man, let that child talk. Just because you don't agree with it don't mean you can't let them get it off their chest. Let that nigga get that junk off his chest. And then don't just bat him down, but explain to him, I understand how you're thinking, son, but that's not how this is going to work, and this is why. You know what I'm talking about? If you want them to be healthy or functional, now if you want them to be niggas and have emotional problems and mental issues, then keep raising them like niggas, and that's what you're going to get. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't got to believe me. You know what I'm saying? Just keep on doing it. You'll find out. Because some of y'all can be thinking about certain stuff your people did. You be like, well, I ain't care for that. Oh, that wasn't necessary. You know what I'm saying? I've been told you it ain't always necessary to hit them churn. What does that do for them? You hit them because you're frustrated. And if you find yourself hitting somebody out of frustration, that's some anger you got in yourself. You shouldn't take that out on another person. That's not even a child. If you frustrated, then, hey, man, you should walk away. Calm yourself down. Because that frustration ain't really got nothing to do with the other person. That's child or adult. That ain't got nothing to do with them. You're taking out something else out on them. That's why the book tell you what? Wrath does not work the righteousness of Elohim. So that means you need to go chill out. Get yourself under control because you're in an emotional state. That doesn't mean that you're an emotional person. Frustration and anger, that's an emotional state. Everybody done been there, but it's not the fact that you get frustrated. It's not the fact that you get angry. It's how you deduce that you're frustrated, why you frustrated, and then how you going to handle that frustration in a conducive manner that doesn't injure or harm other people. Because, see, you got a right to do a lot of things in life. You ain't got a right to hurt nobody. You know what I'm talking about? You don't have a right to do that. And we have to have more self-control to know to not do that. You know what I'm talking about? Now, I ain't saying it's going to be easy. That means you have to have a lot of self-awareness. It means you got to have a lot of self-control. You got to have a lot of discipline. But you know what the one thing you got to have? You got to have love in your heart to say that I'm not going to be the reason that an individual has a disdain towards Yahuwah because I couldn't control myself. You know what I'm saying? That's the main reason. I'm not going to ruin somebody loving Yahuwah because I couldn't contain myself. See, Bruce don't want to talk about that because, see, that's too easy. You know what I'm saying? It's easier just to get upset and say they just don't want to believe the word. Nah, nigga, you's a coward and a chump. That's why. You know what I'm talking about? And you know you is. Because you a bully. Don't nobody like no bullies. Don't nobody like bullies. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people bully people with the word. I ain't bullying a nigga with the word. You ain't got to believe it. You ain't got to hear it. Shoot, nigga, I'll go to bed. Y'all know I'll walk away from it. Because you ain't worthy of what I got to give. If you ain't worthy of what I got to give, I ain't giving it to you. You know that's a mistake a lot of people make? See, a lot of y'all gave men your womb who didn't deserve it. You didn't know they didn't deserve it. That's why you didn't walk away. You knew, but you didn't know. You know what I'm talking about? You know, a lot of men get their time and resources and energy to a woman who didn't deserve it because you ain't know when to walk away and say, you know what? I love myself too much. I love myself too much to give myself to somebody who don't deserve to give. I'm going to walk away. See, that's why Yahuwah put you out the land because you don't deserve what I have to give. And I'm not going to allow you to continually disrespect me or me to Lord. Remember what Nehemiah said, I'm not coming down to you. You're going to have to come up here to me. You don't deserve to be in my presence. Every man should be operating on that level, whether it's male or female. If that person don't deserve to be in your presence, then you need to remove them or to remove yourself. Everyone doesn't deserve to be in your presence. And you got to love yourself enough to know that. I don't care who they is. You know what I'm talking about? Man, you don't deserve to be in my presence. Not behaving like that. Not acting like that. I wouldn't give a damn who it was. It could be your spouse. It could be your churn. It could be your parents. It could be your cousin. I wouldn't care who it was. I wouldn't care if it was a nigga you was friends with for 72 years. If this nigga operating in a manner that ain't conducive, man, I ain't talking about, oh, this doesn't serve me. I'm talking about this person is showing you are not myself from you because I will not be around you and you got going on. And why is that important? Because will not stay present in anywhere that he finds abhorrent, that he looks at this individual and you are not deserving of my presence, he will remove himself. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't telling you nothing but what your God would do. So if your God, and that's not saying he did it first quarter, because some people he did it first quarter, and some people he extended more grace to. Now that's where your wisdom and understanding come in on who you decide to extend grace to. Now see, I can't tell you who to extend grace to and who not. You have to make that decision. You know what I'm talking about? But you have to understand when the grace is up. I ain't got no more loans. I got to go. I got to go. But I will tell you this here. If you see an individual is behaving in a way that you perceive will push you to being in your flesh, it's time to go. Now that one there, that's non-negotiable. If this, you know that being around this individual is going to put you in a carnal state of mind, it's time to go. You don't need to be around them no more. Don't put your soul at risk to maintain a relationship. Don't lose your life now. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not smart. Psalm 58 and 4. He said they're poison like the poison of a serpent, like the death adder, stop her ear, which will not hearken to the voice of charmers, charming never so wisely. Break their teeth, O Elohim, in their mouth. Break out the great teeth of the young lions. Let them melt away as waters. Run continually. He bend his arrows. Let them be cut in pieces. As a snail melt, let pass away the untimely birth of a woman, that they may not see the sun. This man say, let the wicked be like a woman who have a miscarriage. You know what I'm talking about? I just want y'all to understand that. He said, let the wicked be like a woman who have a miscarriage. Before your pots can feel the thorns, he shall take them away as with a whirlwind, both living and in wrath. Remember, he coming back with a flame and a sword. See, we talked about that. Remember what happened? He said it'd be like the days of Noah. Them people died alive. They got drowned alive. When Yahushua come back, he coming back and they dying and they burning alive. The righteous shall rejoice when they see the vengeance. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. So that a man shall say, truly a reward for the righteous. Truly he's an Elohim that judge in the earth. You see that? You see that door? That's why you turn around and you see that in Revelation 14. And it say Mashiach treading the winepress of the wrath of the Almighty Elohim. And why it said he had blood on his garments and on his feet. Because not only is he going to walk, and he said, you're going to see the vengeance. That's why I say, if you're not going to overthrow the people, don't even worry about it. Just sit back and wait for the Lord to do it. Because he going to overthrow him. Because at the end of the day, guess what? There's no economic boycott you can do. There's nothing you can do to overthrow a government other than war. That's it. Any government that's been overthrown through the history of mankind, blood had to be shed to do it. That's the only way you overthrowing a government. People got to die. And people not ready for that. Niggas in America too lazy. Your life too easy. This is literally a first world. This is the only country in the world where you just hear women, regardless of race, talk about how they don't need no man. Nobody else in the world talks like this because they don't have the creature comforts that you have. You know what I'm talking about? They don't have it. And I'm not saying that to ridicule people who say, I don't need no man. I'm just talking about the mindset. You don't see that in other countries because they don't live like how you live. To where you feel comfortable enough and you're relaxed enough to do that you believe that that is the case. You know what I'm talking about? That's why people believe that they don't need a God. Because your life is so comfortable and you have all these other, I don't need no God. I don't need no man. I don't need no husband. You know, what I need him for? I don't need that. Look at all these things that I have. Look at all this access to indulge myself in all manner of unrighteousness. Matthew 23. You still got Luke 30, Psalms 1, 2 Kings 19. It's all there. Y'all willing, it ain't going nowhere. You know, it is what it is, man. It's hard, but it ain't wrong. I can tell you that. 23 and 30 one more time. And say, if we had been in the days of our father, we had not been partakers with them in the blood of the prophets. Wherefore you be witnesses unto yourselves that you're the children of them which killed the prophets. Fill you up then the measure of your fathers. Serpents, generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets, wise men, and scribes, and of them you shall kill and crucify, and of them shall you dogs and persecute from city to city. That upon you come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zechariah, son of Barachas, whom you slew between the temple and the altar. Truly I say unto you, all these things generation. O Jerusalem, that killed the prophets and stoned them which are sent unto you, how often would I have gathered your sons together, even as a hen gather her chickens under her wings, and you would not. But behold, your house is left unto you desolate. So what does this mean? Man up down that tree, and they say, Lord, let his blood be on our sons. All those men of that generation had to pay for every righteous man's death from Abel to the Lord. That period of people, they had to pay for that. So now not only do they answer, because you know why? He was a fulfillment of every righteous man written in this book and not written in this book, because the book was fulfilled in him walking out what those men went through. So therefore, these people are blood because they're guilty of his. And also, just case in point, if you sin against Mashiach, guess you guilty of Mashiach blood, which means you would be guilty of the men who came before his blood also. You know what I'm talking about? See, that's a conversation that we don't want to have. That's why you don't want to hear these dudes who want to make you feel like it's cool to be out here sinning any kind of way, because you're going to be guilty of this man's blood. Let's look at when they spit in his face, just so I know y'all know it's there, but that's just for scripture confirmation.
I got a question. Would you consider Abel a prophet, even though he didn't have a dream or a vision?
Well, to say he was a prophet because his blood spoke to Elohim and he answered it. But it's not saying that he was a prophet, though. It's just saying he was a righteous man.
Yeah, because saying that you all respected him, that's why.
Yeah, because he was righteous. Like it stated in Hebrews, Cain's works were evil and Abel's were righteous. So every righteous man who'd been killed in the text wasn't necessarily a prophet or a teacher. So every righteous man who had ever been slaved for any reason whatsoever, that generation of that period of time, those people in it, they were guilty of his blood because they killed the Lord. That's what made them guilty of that blood. Once they put him up there on that tree and hung him, they were guilty of the blood of every man who came before him, just by shedding his blood. That's why I don't pay to be unfaithful and to be a sinner. That's why I don't pay. Because remember, what does being a sinner mean? You're guilty, you're under condemnation. And what did he say? I'm going to read you in John 3. Let me read you what they spit in this man's face. Matthew 27 and 65, and then John chapter 3. And after that, John chapter 15.
You said 17 or 7.
27 to 65. That junk been sitting too long. That junk tastes like beer. You can look crazy. Beer's disgusting. I ain't never been no beer drinker. Shoot, I smoke marijuana. That's you niggas. Go get me a 40. Give me a quart. That was Boot like. She used to like OE. Yo, what you want? Oh, I only drink Remy Martin in a glass with a straw. Oh, what you drink? That nigga say whatever I can get my hands on. That nigga say, oh, so you like to drink Erkinger. So you like cheap brandy. You get on that cheap brandy and just be unseemly. That nigga looking like unseemly. That's how you were looking. Your eyes got big. You got on Paul Masson and got unseemly. Dang, what she got on, drugs? Lee, you was on that Paul Masson?
It's cheap
Brandy.
You ain't a fan. You know better.
Nah, Lee probably didn't drink. Lee didn't hang with nigga folk.
The first time I got drunk was on Tailboard.
On what?
Tailboard?
I don't know what you're doing.
What is that?
It's like a cheap wine. And they sell it by like a gallon. It has like a little handle.
Oh, you bought some. You bought some Arbor Mist. That's what you bought.
No, it's not.
You bought
it's
some
like
Arbor
gallon
Mist.
it's, yeah.
I know what you like to drink. You like to drink that Carlos Bernard. You don't like to get on that Carlos Bernard? You don't know about that Carlos Bernard? So you don't know nothing about that Carlos Bernard? You know about that Carlos Bernard, Lee? Oh, that ain't no real alcohol, man. That's when niggas was on. The niggas was on the 85 South when the nigga made a whole song. That nigga say, what's that nigga name? That nigga say, call that nigga say, that sound like some wine, with some liquor that everybody drink in the hood. And then the nigga started singing the song, talking about, I'm on that Carlos Bernard. I'm on that Carlos Bernard.
In New York City, like, it's like.
Oh, all y'all go to the bodegas and get it, huh?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you was all there. Poppy! Yeah, that's what you was on. Why y'all need to be going in there trying to talk like y'all Spanish, knowing y'all ain't Spanish?
I don't know. It's just a part of the culture there.
That ain't no culture. Y'all niggas being disrespectful. Matthew 27 and 65. The 4 locals and the chopped cheese. Poppy!
BLT, bacon, egg, and cheese. You gotta say it all in one word. Bacon, egg, and cheese.
No, nigga, I'm be like, see that sandwich right there? Let me get that one, nigga.
They're gonna be like, which one? Which one?
That one, nigga. You know how to
They're
read.
gonna be calling you Poppy. They're gonna be like, which one, Poppy?
I'll be like, nigga, I'm not your father. For one, I've never seen your mother. Never seen your mother. I don't know nothing about that, sir.
They're gonna be so confused.
That's the point.
What's up with this guy?
What's up with this guy? I ain't from around here, nigga. You niggas talking still. I'm from your mama house.
Whoa.
See?
Yeah.
Come on around here, nigga. You limp back. Come on around here. Matthew 27, 65. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He spoke in blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, you've now heard his blasphemy. What think you? They answered and said, He's guilty of death. Then they spit in his face and buffeted him. And others smote with the palms of their hands. Look up buffeted for me in that Greek, man. Tell me what I said. Yeah, you ain't in Matthew 27. Yeah, we done shot the 65. Yeah, I done read 65, 66, and 67.
It's on 65, 66.
Oh, well, 26. It's
Right.
Hey, see none of that. I felt stupid for a second.
I sat down. Maybe I got
John chapter 3. What Buffett say, man? John.
To strike with the fist.
See how they say buffet for your faults, you get hit for your faults. That's what we read in Peter.
Treat with violence.
Treat with violence.
Continue.
John 3 and then and 17. Violence. Elohim sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believe on him is not condemned. He that believe not is condemned already, because he believed not in the name of the only begotten son of Elohim. So guess what? When you don't believe, you already condemned. And you know what you condemned of? Being guilty of shedding his blood. And by man, since you shed man's blood, by man must your blood be shed, because in the image of Elohim made he him. We still got to talk about that, because when you talk about image, you're talking about a resembling and likeness. Remember what we read in Genesis, right? There's no plural. There's no let us make our. Ain't no us there. Ain't no our there. He fashioned you in his likeness and his resemblance. So you're supposed to resemble him. You're going to be conformed into his image, into his likeness. That's what I meant earlier when I was mentioning on put the nigger raising to the side. That's not his likeness. And you can see that when y'all walking the earth, when you read the Gospels, he didn't raise his children like that. He did correct them. Now, you will see something that he did that most people do to his sons very harshly. See the difference? A father talked to his sons harshly, and then he's going to explain to them why he talked to them harshly. Every time you see Mashiach talk to the apostles harshly, he explained to them afterwards why he spoke to them in such a fashion. And you know why a father would talk to his sons that way? If I done took my son and I done brought him in a pathway of a particular discipline and vocation, that means I have his ability to execute in that pathway. And when he don't, I'm going to let him know that what he is doing is not acceptable to me. And I'm not going to pat him on his head and this, that, and the third. And that's also, you can tell the difference of a man who's been raised by men and a man who hasn't, because he can't take harsh words from another man too well. You know what I'm saying? You've been raised by a man, I guarantee you, boy, your daddy and your granddaddy talked to you rough when you was out of pocket. Matter of fact, truth be told, if you were raised by a man, they were more inclined to talk to you roughly than they were to beat you. You know what I'm saying? Most men got beat by their daddy because their mama was pushing your daddy to come beat you. You know what I'm saying? If your mama slid out the way, your daddy usually didn't beat you because he know just beating on you ain't going to get you right. You know what I'm saying? Because you know why? Because he was a little boy. And every little boy know, man, them beatings don't really do nothing. Not as far as correcting behavior. They don't really do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Now, that man may exert discipline. I ain't saying you ain't getting no discipline. I'm just saying he may not beat you. You know what I'm talking about? So you got to get out of pocket for a man to whoop your behind. He going to assess what you've done. Oh, that's not worthy of that. I got something for you. You know what I'm talking about? And you know what he usually going to find? He going to find an activity that he know that you don't desire. And he going to have you do that. And then after he have you do that, he going to explain to you why I had you do said activity, but he really wants you to understand, son, that ain't how you behave, because he will protect you from yourself so you don't make bad decisions, because your daddy know that you going to be somebody's daddy one day. You know what I'm talking about? And that you may have to interact and lead other men. That's why he ain't always inclined to go upside your head, because you're not going to learn nothing from that. You know what I'm talking about? See, a father's number one job is to prepare that boy for life. Beating on little boys don't get them ready for life. Beating on little boys don't do nothing but cause them to be able to be numb to pain. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want them numb to pain. And I ain't saying numb to pain like emotional pain, meaning this nigga could be like this here, like, shoot. You want him to be a fighter, but you don't want him to be a crash dummy. And I ain't talking about a fighter like a brawler. You want him to be a fighter in life. Because life will knock you down. You know what I'm talking about? The hallmark of a man is how he responds to adversity. You know what I'm talking about? But that's another conversation for another day. Come on back. I think I'm good in Job 30. I am. 2 Kings 19. We got everything I need in Job 30. Back to 2 Kings 19. That's another hallmark too, right? Now it can be natural, but a lot of men don't handle adversity well. And that's another hallmark that you could tell that they don't have it naturally, or they weren't raised by a man. Now, I would hope that you don't learn the ability to overcome adversity in your youth because you had to deal with difficult things in your childhood. That's definitely not good. But it's reality. Boom, boom, boom. We was in 2 Kings 19 and 21. We were dealing with the laughter scorn. I didn't get that part with the laughter scorn. Praise God. John 15 and then back to Matthew 27. (15 and 23), because I ain't got the rest of the verses and I ain't going to the afternoon. He that hate my Abba, he that hate me, hate my Abba also. If I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now they've both seen and hated both me and my Abba. But that the word might be fulfilled that is written in their law, they've hated me without a cause. Because remember, Serenity is coming up and reproaching Yahuwah for no reason. Yahuwah had done nothing to Serenity. You know what I'm talking about? Let's continue. What I mentioned after that, I said John 15, Matthew 27. That's what I need. Praise the Lord. I appreciate it. You around here swallowing phlegm? You tell me, you all right? You okay? (27 and 39). Matthew 27 and 39. They that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads. Civic, do me a favor and give me the definition of reviled in this passage.
That's blasphemeo in Greek. It's to speak reproachfully, rail at, revile.
So to speak reproachfully is to dishonor.
To blaspheme.
So to blaspheme, remember we talked about blasphemy when? On Wednesday. And you see how that goes into the aspect of that jesting? Because that's what they were doing to him here. They were jesting. Verse 40 of Matthew 27. And saying, you that destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you be the son of Elohim, come down from the stake. Likewise, also the chief priests mocking, and the scribes and elders said, remember, this is a serious situation. What are they doing? They're mocking. Remember, it said that he was held in derision by men who he would even set among the dogs of his flocks. He wouldn't even set these men against the lowest men in his stable. He wouldn't do it. And he said they were children of base men and they were children of fools. And it said they abhorred him, which means they found him loathsome. That means they hated him. That's why I made the pit stop in John 15. All this is going back to Psalms 1 because we're dealing with how Yahushua became the tree of life. So you got to see how he was blessed, how he didn't sit in the seat of the scornful, nor did he stood in the way of sinners. You know what I'm talking about? Nor did he take counsel from the ungodly. Verse 42, he saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the Malach of Yasharal, let him come down from the stake and we will believe him. He trusted in Elohim, let him deliver him now if he will have him. For he said, I am the son of Elohim. You see that? That's jesting right there. That's why I took the time for you to see them words. Jesting right there. They are making light and mockery of the serious blaspheming the word of God in the process. And they don't even know it. Make themselves how they were guilty of the blood of Abel all the way down to Zechariah, son of Berechiah. Guilty of all that blood. Showing that they were the children of those who killed the prophets before time. Guess what? There's a lot of men who claim to be Hebrews and all that stuff right now. And they the sons of those who killed the prophets. Yeah, I said it. You think it's different now than it was then? Some of these niggas will join right in and kill the prophets. And some of these dudes think they prophets now. FYI, if you stand on the corner and open up a Bible and read out of it, you are not a prophet, sir. You are a reader. You are not a prophet. And if someone has told you you was a prophet, you and him need to go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and slap yourself because you stupid.
I was conscious of last week.
No, it was. That was for a worse offense. You know what I'm saying? This one here, they need to have some sense, slap some sense into yourself. You're not a prophet, boy. How you prophesy and reading what the book say? You didn't make that prophecy, son. You just reading. So guess what that means? So I guess anybody who open up the Bible and read it is a prophet with that type of thought process. Only if you're Israelite. See, now you need to go in the bathroom, wait for somebody else to come in there with you who holding a big family Bible so they can slap you with it. Because you need to look in the mirror and see the stupid go out. You don't know about that. It's a skit. This nigga say, you know, I'll slap you if you don't tell the truth. That woman say, you lie to me one more time, I'll slap the hoe out you. Like she slapped that nigga, and then of course it put a woman there, and like they moving, and he like looking like, you know what I'm saying? One of them, she said, I slapped the monkey crap out of you. And that nigga slapped that nigga was sitting in the zoo. Hey, sometimes that's what you need. Somebody slap the tape right out your mouth so you can see yourself. You stupid. So I say, I slap the stupid out of you. For some people, you might have to slap them twice. Back to 2 Kings chapter 19. I ain't recommending y'all go slap nobody because they might fight you back. Don't do it. Remember also, I think it was in Luke, what he said, you don't fear God, when they were talking about this man, mocking this man. That's why he said that. This is a serious matter and y'all cracking jokes. You know what I'm saying? This is a serious matter and you cracking jokes. This ain't no time to be laughing and joking and playing. This dead real. But you niggas committing a great sin. Remember what Pilate said? Man, what evil have he done? Man, I'm washing my hands of this here, man. I don't want nothing to do with this here. And y'all come around here laughing at me. If you be the son to come off the tree, nigga, you say it other, you can't say yourself. You know what I'm saying? That's what they were doing. That's why they were children of men of renown. That's why they were children of the prophets, the children of great men who came before them. You think that was common people that was killing the prophets before? That was people who had authority. You know why they were doing it? Because I don't want to hear what you got to say. Because I'm going to do what I want to do, how I want to do it, whenever I want to do it. Who going to stop me? See, that's tough right there. There ain't no way to live. Ain't no way to live. 2 Kings chapter 19, verse 22. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? Did you not see how they reproached him? You see that? Praise God. And against whom have you exalted voice? Ain't that what they did? And lifted up your eyes on high? Was he not up? See how it's all the same word is bearing witness of this man. Even against the Kadash of Yasharal? By your messengers have you reproached the Lord. That's what they did, right? Scribes and Pharisees, that's what they did. They dishonored him. And said, with the multitude of my chariots, I've come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and will cut down the tall cedar trees, the choice fir trees thereof, and I will enter into the lodgings of his border, into the forest of Carmel. And I've digged and drunk strange waters with the sole of my feet. Have I dried up all the rivers of besieged places? So when we look at drinking strange waters, of course, you know that's my aim for waters. We're going to talk about that. But what is strange? Zer, to become a stranger, an alien, an enemy. What are the waters that they drunk strange? They drinking from a different well. So you could have drunk from the well of life. That's what he told you in Jeremiah. You chose not to do that. So you chose to drink. Remember, what did the people say? Who was their king? What did the people say was their king in the Gospels? Who did they say was their king? Caesar. They drinking from strange waters. Going to stranger, just an alien, an enemy, a stranger. That's all that is. Have you not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Now I've brought it to pass that you should be laid waste, fenced cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore the inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, as the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, as corn blasted before it be grown up. But I know you're bold, and you're going out and coming in your rage against me. Because your rage against me and your tumult has come up into my ears, therefore I will put my hook in your nose, my bridle in your lips. I will turn you back by the way which you came. Also, this is also dealing with how he said he would put hooks in the nose of whom? Do you know who else he said he would put hooks in the nose of? Who knows who he said he would put hooks in the nose of to bring them back? I actually mentioned them earlier. But if you don't know, it's okay. Because I haven't talked about it in a while. So I'm actually not expecting you to remember that offhand. Anybody? Once? Twice? Gog and Magog. And why is he going to bring them Gog and Magog? To cause them to come to the battle. You can see that in Ezekiel 38:1. Matter of fact, I'll read it to you so you can see it. 38:1. And the word of Yahuwah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog in the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him. And say, Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, Behold, I against you, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn you back and put hooks into your jaws, and I will bring you forth in all your army, horses and horsemen, and all them clothed with all sorts, a great company, bucklers and shields, all them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bonds in the house of Torgamah, and the north quarters and all his bands, many people with you. Be you prepared, and prepare yourself, you and all your company are assembled under you, and be you a guard unto them. And that's for them to come back. Now, just for context, Ezekiel 38 is referring to what? You've already been delivered by Yahushua. You are in the kingdom of Hamashiach at this time. Remember, Satan goes for prison for how long? One day. He gets loosed out of his prison to go out and deceive the nations, even Gog and Magog. And this is Yahuwah saying, I'm going to bring you back. And you're going to come up to come fight me, and I'm going to kill all of you. But I just want you to see who was all with him. He noted, what did he note? Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya. You know who that is? That's Ham. You know what I'm talking about? These are Hamites. With Gog and Magog, you got Yefet. So you got who? You got Gentile. Come to Psalms 83 real fast with the get down. With the get down. Because see, you don't probably hear Bruce use this verse that much no more. When I had first started seeing them niggas online, boy, them boys will run the Psalms 83 faster than you can think. 83:1 on general principle. Keep not, O silence, O Elohim, hold not your shalom, and be not still, O Elohim, for lo, your enemies make atonement. They that hate you have lifted up the head. What you just seen in Ezekiel 38, they that hate you do what? Lift up the head, right? You know what we mentioned earlier in Revelation 11, what it said, the enemies of Elohim, the nations, they are angry. Let me read it to you just so people know I ain't making this up. I don't want people to think I be making stuff up, because I know that's what some niggas be thinking. 11:15, Revelation. The seventh Malachim sounded. There were great voices in Shamahim saying, the Malchus of this world are become of our Lord and of his anointed, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worshiped Elohim, saying, we give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Almighty, which are and was and are to come, because you've taken to you your great power and reigned. And the nations were angry, and your wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that you should give reward to your servants, the prophets, to the faithful, and to them that fear your name, small and great, and you should destroy them which destroy the earth. Say the nations are angry. He's taken their rulership. Let's look at the next thing he said. They've taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against the hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. See, this is a twofold thing. Number one, they wanted to do that with killing the Yahusha. Number two, they want to do that with Gog and Magog. Because if they're going up to war to make war with Israel, guess what they're seeking to do? Eliminate you. Let's continue. They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. You see this twofold. All the nations were confederate against him to fight him before his return, and all of them are confederate after he is returned to take rulership to do what? To go against him, are they not? Let's continue. The tabernacles of Edom. And what tribe do we know the beast rolling up out of? Edom. And the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon, Amalek. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Why is this important? Edom and Moab. Ammon. You know who these people is? They from Shem. You know who Shem is, right? Who is Shem? That's Noah's son. That's who these people come from. So all the families of the earth is referring to everybody from Shem, Ham, and Japheth. They want problems. They want rulership. They don't want to give rulership up because they've been ruling. Remember what I told you? Everybody was ruling in where they was at. Now, these other people might beef with one another, but at the end of the day, they were ruling where they was at. Let's continue. Verse 7 again, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Philistines and Tyre, these are Hamites. Ashur is joined with them. You know the Assyrians, you know who them is? Them your cousins. Remember, guess what Jacob was? He was Assyrian, because guess what? Where Abraham was. Remember who he told Jacob to go take a wife from? From an Assyrian, from his cousins. See, we don't like to talk about that. Is joined with them. They're hoping with the sons of Lot. Say Lot. You know who Lot is, right? You know who the sons of Lot is, right? You know who the sons of Lot is. You look confused. He just told you who the sons of Lot is in this chapter. Moab and Ammon. Those are the sons of Lot. Remember the sons he had with his daughters. He said, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, to Jabin at the brook of Kishon. Y'all know who that is? Y'all know what that's about? Where perished that indoors became the dung of the earth? Well, what happened to Sisera? Sisera, the one who died with the nail in his head in the book of Judges. Huh? Yeah, from that woman Jael. And that was the war that was going on at that particular time. You can go read Judges 4 and 5 on your own time. You know what I'm talking about? And it points to what was going to happen at the end in the parables if you have understanding of the text. But he said, let those nations die like Sisera died. We know that ain't happened yet. Let's continue. Verse 11, make their nobles like Orab and like Zeb and all their princes like Zebah and Zalmunna. And you know, we went over this before, so we're not going to do it right now. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Elohim in possession. O my Elohim, make them like a wheel, as stubble before the wind. As the fire burn a wood, and as the flame set the mountains on fire, so persecute them with your tempest, and make them afraid with your storm. What does Ezekiel 38 say he would do? Rain down fire and brimstone from heaven, ain't it? Fill their faces with and perish, that men may know that you, whose name alone is Yahuwah, the Most High over all the earth. That's why he said they need to know that. That's how you know that's coming in that Ezekiel 38, because they need to know Yahuwah is God over all the earth. If they ain't know it before, they going to know it that day. Praise God. They going to know it that day. With it, man. Oh, I'm back in 2 Kings 19, my bad, because it's on the app. Kings 19. Y'all understand all that? This makes sense, y'all? I need to make sure I'm in the right spot. Okay, I was in 28. We're in verse 29. This be a sign unto you. You shall eat this year such as things grow of themselves, and the second year that which spring of the same, and the third year sow you, reap and plant vineyards, and eat the fruits thereof. Well, let's look at something that grows with itself. Let's take a look at that. Genesis chapter 1. Genesis 1 and 11. You know, the word ain't hard to understand when you have a desire to love and know Yahuwah. Remember what it said in the text? He said there's no seeking of his understanding. See, most of us, we're not seeking to understand him. That's what I was telling the people in that brief time this morning when I was in that dude room. Y'all not seeking to understand him, so that's why you don't know the book. When you seeking to understand him, the book is quite simple. It's very simple. It's not even difficult. You know what I'm saying? People are you spiritualizing? We ain't doing nothing, bro. We comparing spiritual things with spiritual. See, you can't compare spiritual things with spiritual when you're an unbeliever. See, you can read the Bible every day, keep the Sabbath, don't eat pork, and still be an unbeliever. You know what I'm saying? You don't believe in, so therefore you can't compare. See, people like to throw, I got the Ruach and the Ruach. People like to throw that stuff around loosely. because most people don't understand quantitatively how to even ascertain that a person has it. You know what I'm saying? You got brothers, man, they look at, man, they'll sing and dance all day long. I ain't talking about no Christian style. I'm talking about bruise. Boy, ain't got no spirit in them because you a coward. When I say coward, you afraid of confrontation. You know, a lot of these dudes who in the word, man, they're afraid to confront women. Then you got dudes who overly confront women because you too overly concerned with what women are doing. I don't care what a woman is doing. You know what I'm talking about? What does that matter or mean to me? See, that's what I told that brother Wednesday night when he talking about these women don't submit. I say, well, brother, the question isn't not that women won't submit. Why are you dealing with a woman who won't listen to you? That's the question. I don't care why she won't submit. Why you don't love yourself enough to remove somebody who won't follow you? And you complaining about it. That say more about you than it do about her. Because I'm not finna complain about no woman who ain't gonna listen to me. Well, shoot, baby, if you don't respect me, what the hell you here for? Man, that nigga BOA played the clip. See, I know this here, but a lot of women don't believe this here. These white women were asking him, what can I do to put my cookie on this man to make him stay? Like this, that, there, and the third. But no, you look at this here because most women feel like their sexual prowess is enough to make a man do whatever that they want him to do. But see, Steve told her the truth. He said, babe, I'm going to tell you something that all men know. All vaginas are the same. I don't care how good you think your vagina is. It's the same. Your vagina ain't no different than that woman over here. I don't care what type of flips you can do with it. I don't care what type of muscle gripping you can do. I don't care how much you throw it back. I don't care about none of that. It's a woman who got a vagina who can do the exact same thing. But it's something that he told them women, which is the real deal. That vagina only get good when that man is emotionally attached to you. You know how you know this? Because you got dudes who will have sex with numerous women and never have that problem because he was neverly emotionally attached to that woman. You could have a dude, he didn't kill that dude because he thought that vagina was so good. He was emotionally attached to that woman, and that's why he didn't want another man to go up in that woman. And that's why he's willing to kill a nigga behind that woman or kill her, then kill himself. Because it's emotional attachment. That's a mental disease. There's something wrong with you. I've been telling you never do that. Because ain't nobody sex that good. When people like, oh, he put it down on her, that's why she act like that. No, she's emotionally attached to him. You know what I'm talking about? It's not the physicality of, because you know how you know this? Because you can have some women who can go out here and sleep with a whole bunch of dudes, and that dude can do the same thing to her that she did to you. And that woman over there won't feel about him like you do. Because she ain't emotionally attached to him, but you are. You know what I'm talking about? And that's why when you're dealing with the word, you ain't supposed to be emotionally attached to no one. To no one at any time, for any reason whatsoever. You only supposed to be attached to Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? Well, what did he say? He said they be joined and they become one flesh. He say joined to be one flesh. He didn't say emotionally attached. Use your mind, man. When you're emotionally attached to somebody, that means that person will supersede Yahuwah because that person now has become your God. They're the forefront of your mind. They're the centerpiece of your life. That ain't never supposed to happen for no man. That's what giving your strength to a woman is all about. You're emotionally attached to her. I done had women, how can you love a woman without emotions? Same way the Lord do. What are you talking about? What's wrong with you? Do you know what I'm talking about? Nigga, you can I love children. There's no emotion involved in having love for a child. There's no emotion like this here. I love this child. My emotions are stirred. I didn't look at my daughter and say, oh, I love you because of my feelings. You're my flesh and blood. But guess what? If that nigga behave in an unseemly fashion, I don't have a daughter and I don't love you and you can go. That's, you know, and you know why I'm saying that? Because what's the number one people use to shame somebody? Would you disown your child if they did such and such? They tell you you're supposed to love unconditionally. There's no such thing as unconditional love. Only emotional people, simps, suckers, busters, and ignorant women love unconditionally. It doesn't exist.
Well, since we're on that topic, I actually have a question.
Go ahead.
Is Yahuwah's love for Yasharah wasn't unconditional?
No, not at all. That love that he had was just representative of who he was as an individual. Or who he is as an individual. Because his love did have conditions and they broke it and he kicked them out. But him manifesting himself in the flesh was more so that they could know, we could know, as it say in Psalms, that there's forgiveness with him, that he might be reverenced. You know what I'm saying? Or how he say he did it for his great name's sake, to make people understand and know, don't play with my name. But even to get that salvation because of his sacrifice, it comes with conditions. That's why I say, if you love me, he said, keep my commandments. He said, you are my friends if you do whatever I tell you to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still conditions. Like, nobody, I put it this way, nobody of any value or worth loves anyone without conditions. That's just not how that works. That's a go ahead, hold on. Go ahead, Bella.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Go
You
ahead.
were just talking about like having to love a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I heard a lot of women say when they giving birth to their child, their child, they just so overcome with emotion and things of that nature. So that's not supposed to be, because like when you have a child, like when I saw my daughter, I was happy that she was here, but it wasn't like that overwhelming, like how people just put so much on me.
I mean, some people could be exaggerated. I mean, and some women are emotional. I mean, I would give a woman a pass if she said those things and be in an emotional state right after childbirth. I mean, there's a rush of hormones going through this woman, and you know, y'all already have a proclivity to be unmoderated emotionally, and you got a lot of thoughts and feelings going through you when you view this baby who you may have pushed out or was cut out. You know what I'm saying? And this, that, then the third. But I think it's probably more in the line of what is written in John, where he say, you know, when the pain you have with a baby, but all that's gone, and it's joy once a man child is born into the world. I think more so probably it's just probably not articulated in that fashion, that it's the joy a woman has when she sees her baby.
Okay, I had to ask that question because I was looking like I didn't feel that like I was glad my child was here, but it was.
I don't know, I mean, it doesn't make you a horrible person or nothing like that. But I think more than anything, when women describe that, and it's just my personal opinion, I think they more so describing the joy of seeing their baby, and they just describe it as emotions and feelings and this, that, then, and third. But it's really just joy, elation, relief that she had a healthy birth, relief that the baby was born healthy, relief that not even that it's over, relief that she, I mean, now this is also contingent on how much she values the man whose child she just brought forth, relief that she just brought forth her husband's child safely. You know what I'm saying? Things of that there, because a lot of stuff that go through with women in birth, it also is contingent on how she feel about that man. You know what I'm saying? Because if she don't like that man like that, then she might be transferring a plethora of emotions to that child to replace the emotions that she wished she had for the father.
I was asking when you were like about the whole emotion, like, you know.
I mean, it's natural.
You're supposed to love your child, you ain't supposed to like your emotion. You can't let nothing emotionally blackmail you almost. If that's a good way to say it.
I mean, but I'm gonna be honest with you. Most black mothers, the children don't do the emotional blackmailing. It be the mothers. Because I heard a brother say this today on the clip, and he was accurate. That the way that a lot of mothers raise their daughters, that their daughters grow up and they don't trust women or men. And the one lady was looking crazy when the lady was talking about, dude was talking about, man, these little girls get molested. They go tell they mama they got molested, and they mama tell them she lying, or she did it to herself, or she was being fast, or sweep it under the rug. And now this little girl don't trust men or women. You know what I'm talking about? And see, these are things that our people don't like to talk about because niggas is full of crap. You know what I'm saying? Niggas like to bring white folks for every damn thing we got going on when niggas really are degenerates. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women are very selfish and are focused on themselves. And the reason why she won't put that man on blast because she don't want to lose that man. You know what I'm talking about? And she'd rather keep that man than to get that predator out her house. You know what I'm saying?
In the black community, but I feel like for some black mothers, they can be very manipulative Because from my experience, I finally pieced some things my own mom was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an older lady. We were talking about the spirit of manipulation. She was like, that's a witchcraft spirit. And when you sit back and you think about it, the stuff that she was saying was like it was trying to control me. And one day I finally called her and I said, look, you need to stop that with that manipulative spirit, because that's a witchcraft spirit. And the Lord said, suffer not a witch to live.
Well, I won't say it's a witchcraft spirit. I'm gonna be honest with you. Most women are highly manipulative. You know what I'm saying? Highly manipulative. In general, most women are highly manipulative. You know what I'm saying? And the reason being is because a little girl recognizes very early the certain things that she could do to get her way. You know what I'm saying? That's because most women in general are very selfish. You know what I'm saying? And they want what they want. And they recognize early, like you said, as a child, the things that's why little girls can cry and don't nothing be wrong with them. And then you learn as a woman, if I can just cut these tears on or do this, that, there, and the third, this man will give me what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody done told me, oh, you got a little girl, you're going to be soft. The hell you say? You know what I'm saying? Because that's the general thought process with men. Or you get a little girl, your daughter going to get whatever she want. If she cry, absolutely not. I don't care nothing about that. I don't care nothing about that. Man, Joanne can cut on all the tears she want to cut on. But boy, if that's a no, that's a no. I don't care nothing about your tears. I don't care about because she has to learn early to have respect for masculine authority and that she will not be able to manipulate a man through emotional theatrics to get what she wants. She's not gonna learn from me that that's not the type of behavior that she can do to get what she wants. She gonna get that from me. That's that. But you know why dudes say that? Because they do that with the mom. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of mothers learn early to guilt trip. They put it in TV shows all your life. You done seen it, the stuff that they show to have the mama manipulate the kids to get them to do what she want them to do. Because at the end of the day, it's really rooted in selfishness. I want what I want. I mean, it can be controlled depending on what it's about. Because some mothers want control. But most of it's about, the control is getting you to do what I want you to do, which is what most women want. Most women want a man who she can control to get what she wants. I want you to do what I want you to do. You know what I'm saying? I want the ability to do what I want and get what I want when I want. That's why most women cannot handle a righteous man or a strong man if he ain't in the word and she ain't in the word, because he is not moved. You're not going to be able to control him. And you're not going to be able to manipulate him to get what you want. A lot of women find that very difficult to deal with. That's what the brother was missing when we was in that room and we telling him, bro, you got to get yourself right first. If you get yourself right and you go through what you need to go through as a man to build yourself up, then no one can manipulate you to get you to do what you want, because you know of the time, effort, and struggle that went into getting where you are. What'd you say, brother?
No, I said I was agreeing. I was listening to that, and I didn't comment because everybody was telling him the same thing, and it wasn't clicking. And I could hear, I understood what he was saying, but I was agreeing with y'all. Why would you want somebody take a woman on the journey with you when you don't have a pot to piss in? And she may be the one that'll ride with you, but it gets old fast, and then it'll get toxic. And she ain't gonna have no respect for you.
Well, that's just because dudes be wanting a woman. A man who talk like that, his life is more focused on women than it is on achievement and production. And usually that comes from because he has an inordinate level of affection and bond with his mother. That's why I told him that. It sounds like you want another mother. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of dudes out here want. They want another mother. They want somebody to love them like their mama loved them. And your old lady not going to love you like your mama love you. She's not your mother. You know what I'm saying? And why in the hell would you want that anyway? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't even make any sense. The same way when these people are like, your woman should be the one you talk to when you need to vent. Why would I want to talk to a woman for? Why is it? See, the reason why they put that in your brain, especially for black men, because they think when you got a problem, you go to mama. So now, because guess what? Because usually daddy ain't there. So when you got a problem, you go to mama. So then they want you to become an adult and they want you to look at your woman as your mama. So whenever I got a problem, mama will fix it. And I'm going to run to mama. You know what I'm saying? That's a debilitating mindset. It's not a mindset conducive for elevation and greatness of a man's masculinity and manhood. I can tell you that. Like I told you before, no disrespect. I ain't thought to go to my mom about nothing in damn near 30 years. Go to her for what? You know what I'm talking about? I'm a man. I got man problems. She can't do nothing with that. I'd rather sit down with my peer group of men and we sort that out than to go to my mama. What is she gonna tell me? Especially when we in the street. What the hell is they gonna tell me? She can't tell me nothing. She don't know nothing about no dope game. She don't know nothing about what's going on out here. So what am I talking to her for? Guess what? Then when you become a man and now you got a family, this, that, then, and the third, what am I going to go to my mama for? What's she gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing she could tell me. Those type of situations you're supposed to go to your daddy for. You're supposed to go to your grand. See, we're not even trained as men to, where my daddy at? We go holler at my uncle. Where my granddaddy at? You told, go to your mama, go to your old lady. And no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Do that for what? And when you talk like that, you hate women, if that's what you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? My old lady not finna be my best counselor. Why am I getting advice and counsel and purpose from a woman for? And I'm supposed to be a man and a leader. Doesn't even make sense. That's what they say. Yeah, they say the man's the head, but the woman the neck. Man, get the hell out of here. You can make him turn how you want to go. Man, this woman can't make me turn nowhere she want me to go. I'm going the way the Lord tell me to go. I'm going the way that I perceive is going to bestly benefit me. And because it bestly benefit me, it's going to benefit those who are with me. You know what I'm talking about? Because a woman's going to counsel you on what's going to benefit her. You know what I'm talking about? She might think about the family or this, but at the end of the day, you mention something, it's going to directly benefit you first. She ain't looking at the grand picture. She looking at, I can get this here. Nigga, that's what you ought to do. You know what I'm saying? That's not all women. We just talking about in general. In general, most women will tell you to do something that directly benefits her. You know what I'm talking about? Even when Sarah told Abraham it was right, it was a benefit to her because she was jealous of that woman's son being around. You know what I'm saying? He was mocking though, and he needed to go, but it was still a counsel that benefited her if you look at it naturally. You know what I'm saying? That directly benefited her because she knew that would hurt him to send her away, but Yahuwah had to come through. You know, she ain't telling you nothing wrong though. I know it might seem, but she, you know, you might want to listen to her. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was about to ask you. Like when you use your example, even, and I'm just asking hypothetically, like even if you go talk to your guys that you deal with being problems, but your wife, she could see something on the outside and she could drop a nugget.
It ain't even that, because I know some people be like, women can see stuff that you can't. It's not that a woman can see something you can't see. It's just a person offering a different perspective. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't like when people say that because it's not like this woman or this man has some great intuition and intuitiveness that you just have a different perspective. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I see it like this. You know what I'm saying? And you might not look at it, because guess what? It's a multitude of times where a woman have a particular perspective and the husband has to explain to her the faultiness of that perspective, and she wouldn't have peeped it because she wasn't looking at it from a particular vantage point to see how this wouldn't be a wise move. That doesn't mean that he's just so intuitively great. He's looking at it from a standpoint different than her. You know what I'm saying? So he's going to assess it differently. She might look at a situation where you thinking about X, Y, Z, and she's looking at it like, hey, I'm looking at it from this perspective, so I see it like this. And he was like, because I wasn't looking at it like this, I didn't see it the way she seen it. So now I can agree with her assessment, and I can do that because I wasn't looking at it how you were looking at it. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you see something that he can't see. Everybody just looks at stuff differently. You know what I'm saying? And they give you their perspective based on how they're viewing it. You know what I mean? And that's cool. I mean, I'm never saying this that you can't, if your woman got something to offer, but a woman has to understand this here. You offer your perspective if your husband asks you for it. If he doesn't ask you for it, there's really no need for you to volunteer it. Because that's where conflict arises. Unless y'all have an open door policy where he say, hey, if you see something and you want to give me your opinion, then come give me your opinion. You know what I'm saying? Now, if y'all done had that conversation and that's been laid out, that's not no problem. But if that ain't been laid out, as a woman, I would recommend you that you never offer your opinion to a man unsolicited. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's not going to be received well. It's probably going to cause strife. Not because you offered your opinion, but the fact that you offered it, he may take that as you're questioning his decision making, or you believe that he's stupid, or you're trying some way to usurp his authority. And that might not be your intent. Sometimes it's not about the intent, it's about how it's received or how it is perceived, I should say. But if he asks you for your opinion, then offer it. Because that means he's going to take into account your opinion. If somebody asks you for your opinion, that means they're going to take it into account. Because I asked you for it. But if I didn't ask you for it, that means I was never intending on taking your opinion into account. You could have kept that to yourself because I didn't ask you for that. You know what I'm saying? It was a situation I would make a move, and I didn't have to mention this to D, but I said, since your name would be on it, I'll allow you to look over that and you can give me your opinion and your thoughts. I don't have to do that, but I'm looking at it in the aspect because your name would be on it. In my opinion, that's the just thing to do, to allow you to assess that and give me your opinion on that particular matter. You know what I'm saying? In my assessment, that's the right thing to do. Now, if her name wasn't on it, I'm not asking you about nothing. And I didn't have to ask you about nothing with your name being on it. Because at the end of the day, you belong to me. I can do what I want to do. But was that the just thing to do? That's what you got to ask yourself. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't the just thing to do in my personal assessment. I can't say opinion. I'm talking about assessing the matter. That's not the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the right thing to do. See, just because you have authority and power just don't mean you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? That's not what that means. Remember, he said, he that ruleth amongst men must be just. Just because you have authority and power does not mean you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I'm saying? You still got to do what's right. You know what I'm saying? And in my assessment, that was the right thing to do. Check this out. Take a look at that. Give me your thoughts. We'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? Because just me personally, my mind didn't look at it like, you know what? I could make this move and it wouldn't even matter. And she'll go along with it. But is that right? But the reason being is because some men, they can't wait to have the ability to tell a woman, this is what we're doing and you're going to do it. Because they don't love themselves. And they know that most women wouldn't trust their judgment. You know what I'm talking about? So that's why you don't care. That's why you don't want to know. That's why you won't even ask her perspective, especially if it's something that she might be intimately interwoven in. You don't care because you know she think you stupid. Don't think that these dudes out here don't know that their old lady think they stupid. Because a lot of dudes know, man, she know you stupid. You know you stupid. If you know you stupid, you know she know you stupid. She just deal with your stupidity because she locked in now. She like, screw it, we here now. You know what I'm talking about? It's a little too late for that. This nigga's dumb. You know what I'm saying? Check this out, right? A woman know if her nigga dumb. She know. She knew he was dumb before she cocked her legs open, but she was like, he probably ain't gonna say stupid forever. You know what I'm talking about? That's right, Brother Reynolds. Amen. It's the opposite of being in the ball. Because like I said, I'm not saying you can't take no counsel from your woman, but I'm just saying if you got problems, see, there's a difference from problems. A woman ain't the first person pop in my mind, I got a problem. That's all I'm saying. I can't speak for nobody else. I'm speaking for me. You know what I'm talking about? I got a problem. I got some tribulations I'm dealing with. A woman don't pop. Let me go talk to my wife. She gonna make me feel better. No, that don't pop in my mind. Man, I could be dealing with something a lot of times you probably wouldn't even know it. And some people would be like, you shouldn't do that. You should let it all out. That's a person you allow life to control you. You allow what goes on in life and tribulations or whatever the case may go, you allow that to control you. That's why people be screaming, you got to let it out. I ain't got to let nothing out if I'm not letting it dominate me. There's nothing to let out. Oh, I didn't even know you were dealing with that. I mean, it was a matter, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to let that control me because that means I'm allowing something that is outside of me to have dominion over me. And the only thing that's going to have dominion over me is Yahuwah, and he dwells on the inside. So I can't let nothing on the outside rule me. And then Yahuwah can't rule me on the inside and the outside rule me at the same time because you're going to hate one and cleave to the other. You know what I'm saying? That's not how that works. That's where your faith come in at, truth be told. If you don't allow outside things to rule over you and you still allow the peace, comfort, and love of Elohim to rule over you no matter what it is that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, life is what it is, man, but y'all got something that people don't have. You got Yahuwah. What's better than that? Ain't nothing you can go through that bad, man, when you know that you got Yahuwah. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to understand that, man. I'm not saying this just to be saying it. You know what I'm talking about? I want you to understand that there is nothing you got going on that bad that should cause you to forget that you have Yahuwah. And the thought of you knowing you got Yahuwah, that's what should click in your mind. You know what? It ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. Because you know what's bad? Not having Yahuwah. That's bad. Not having the money you want, or son get paid late, or whatever the case may be, that's unfortunate. It's unpreferred, but it ain't bad. Living your life out here knowing you ain't got no God, knowing like what it said, comfort one another with these words, because we not as others who sorrow, who don't have no hope. When they pass away, you see how them people be at these doggone funerals when these people die. These people know deep down in their soul, boy, Uncle Charlie going to hell. You know what I'm talking about? Big Mama going to hell. But God forbid any one of y'all go, that shouldn't be the type of deal at your funeral. See, the sadness would be like you seen with Mary and Martha. I'm just sad I ain't going to see your face for a little while. But you remember what she told the Lord. I know I'm going to see him again at the resurrection of the last day. It wasn't the sadness that people in the world have sadness when somebody died. It's just the sadness that I can't see you for a little while. I'm going to miss you being around because I love you. I enjoy your company. You meant something to me. You know what I'm talking about? But people who ain't got no faith, ain't got no hope, boy, them people die, them people be towed up because they know that nigga going to hell. Ain't no coming back for him. They know it. You know what I'm saying? Well, Stanley told me a few weeks ago, nigga called him talking about, would you be sad, or other nigga going, boy, I don't feel sorry. I done told you this before. I'm gonna put this on tape, and I don't care who got a problem with it, nigga. You can eat doodle and die. I don't feel sorry for nan nigga that go to hell. May you burn, may you burn, may you burn. You know what I'm talking about? And you know why you ought to burn, you ignorant bastard Jew? Because you had an opportunity to that salvation like everybody else had, and you deemed yourself unworthy of it and rejected it. I don't feel sorry for you. I ain't finna shit. I remember years ago, nigga asked me that. So if your mama was in hell, I'll toss her in there first. Because at the end of the day, my allegiance is to Yahuwah, not to my mama, not to my daddy, not to my daughter, not to my wife, not to myself. My allegiance is to Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? And if you are an enemy of Yahuwah, you are an enemy of mine. And I do not apologize for that. I'm not walking that back. I'm not explaining that. I said what I said. I meant it. I stand on that. And if you got a problem with it, nigga, screw you, your life, and everything you stand for. You know what I'm talking about? And I mean that with every ounce of my soul. This is not for shock value to put on no tape. I don't give a damn what no nigga think about what I just said. But boy, I mean that. I mean that. You know what I'm talking about? And I done said it before, and I'll say it till my last breath come out of my lungs, boy. My allegiance is to Yahuwah, boy. I'll talk. Look here, man. I wouldn't want to toss damn one of you brothers and sisters in that. I'll toss your black behind in there. And guess what? If I was out of pocket and I needed to get tossed, you better toss me, nigga. That's what that law say. These niggas don't love God for real. That's why you can't be emotionally attached to nobody. Because when you're emotionally attached to somebody, you'll go to hell with them because you'll sin with them. You'll reject Yahuwah with them because you that attack. See, if you're emotionally attacked, you won't be able to walk away. To serve the Lord, you got to be willing to walk away. You got to see, remember, I ain't even got to it because we run along. Now we don't have to get off here. But to take root downward, to bear fruit upward, that means you got to go in the grave and die with Mashiach. That means you got to go outside the gate and suffer with him. And boy, you can't do that if you attached to nobody because you ain't going to walk away. See, they was attached to Egypt. That's why they wanted to keep going back. You know what I'm saying? They was attached. See, it really wasn't that bad to them. They really enjoyed it. You know what I'm talking about? I say that because when you look at I don't like to use toxicity because I hate it. It's an overused term. You know what I'm talking about? But when you look at the negative behaviors and emotions that a lot of people elicit out of others, you begin to trauma bond or chaos bond. That's what you want. You stick with them. That's why you see people, they be hard for them to separate from people. Even if they ain't in the word. because you enjoy the chaos and the confusion and the trauma that had come from being attached to these people. And you feel like I got it. I don't feel that way. Never have. And God forbid, never will. That's word of 9. I'ma leave. You know what I'm talking about? Man, we were talking about it earlier, man. My homeboy was like, man, hey, man. I said, hey, man, if a woman, God forbid, I even put myself in a position for a woman to put me out her house, I'm not finna peg and plead with no woman to let me stay there. I don't want to be nowhere I'm not wanted. I don't want to be nowhere that I'm not wanted. You know why? Because I love me more than to beg somebody to want me to be in their presence and you don't want me there. I'm not finna ask. I'm not finna console. I don't care. That's fine. You don't have to want me to be there. You know why? Because I love me. That this nigga said that in that room. He talking about, you need a woman to believe in you. I said, I don't need a woman to believe in nothing. I believe in me, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? I say that's your problem. And I mentioned this because this pertains to the word. And I told y'all that the other night, John 5:44. People want external validation and not internal. The kingdom of Elohim is in you. You don't have to look low and look here. It's within you. You want to be validated internally so you can be validated eternally by the Ruach HaKodesh or Yahuwah. You don't need nobody to validate you on the outside. That's the hallmark of a man who's been raised by a man and a man who ain't been raised by one. And also that's the hallmark of somebody whose people love them. Because see, when you see your people love you, you have confidence. And that confidence doesn't need outside validation. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't need it. Now, women, it's a little different because, you know what I'm saying? I won't hold y'all to that. But for men should not need outside validation. Like if I did something, I don't need nobody to tell me, you did a great job. You know, it's cool or whatever, but I ain't looking for it. I don't need you to tell me I did a great job. I know I did. You know what I'm saying? I don't need that, right? Like somebody could tell me, boy, that was a mean lesson you dropped, and that's cool. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect. But that don't mean nothing to me. That don't move me. That don't make me feel good about myself or be like, yeah, I did a great thing. You know what I'm saying? I just did my job. I need Yahuwah to validate me for doing my job. You know what I'm saying? That's it. You know what I'm saying? You know, some brothers, they need to hear that. Some brothers need to be like, you know, it's all right. You know, you want to hear your woman say, I appreciate you. And that's all that. I don't need you to hear you say you appreciate me. You know how you're going to show me you appreciate me? By doing what I tell you to do. By serving me in my household how I told you to serve. That's how you're going to show me you appreciate. What the good is it if you saying, baby, I appreciate you, but you don't do what I tell you to do? You told me you appreciated me, but your actions say I don't. So which one you want, nigga? Because I'd rather you show me than to tell me. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I was raised, though. What good is it to say you love your parents, but you don't listen to them as a child? You know what I'm talking about? What good is it? What good is it to say you love your parents and you disrespect them as an adult? But you know, we ain't talking about black people disrespect. You share your thoughts. You disrespectful little bastard. You call it disrespect because I called you out on your crap and you know you full of crap. And now you want to call it disrespect. I ain't disrespect you. I just let it be known plainly that your behavior is unacceptable and how your behavior has affected me and how I will no longer accept your abhorrent and disrespectfully rude conduct. I will not be a part of this any longer. Niggas like to call that disrespect. You know why they call it disrespect? Because you told me about myself. And as my child, you ain't supposed to do that. What if your daddy smoked crack? Daddy, you smoke crack, it ain't right. You disrespecting me. Nigga, you smoke crack. You're a crackhead. You drink liquor all day. And me telling you that you do that is disrespect? See, niggas say that because that's a way to skirt accountability. You know what I'm saying? This is what I mean about most people don't know how to have conversations because you would pick up on this when people say things and how they behave. You know what I'm saying? As forth as articulated, you would hear what someone is articulating to you, not only with their words, but with their actions. You know what I'm saying? I told you a long time ago, you know a man love it if a man will go outside every day and do whatever it is necessary to be able to make sure that you got food, clothing, and shelter, that man love you. Because you know if he didn't love you, he wouldn't do that for you. Because he said, I'm going to be responsible for you. I'm going to make sure you get the things that you need to survive. But what you want to do. See, that's what we get caught up on too much. You worry about what you want to do. You ain't even happy with the fact that, dang, I had somewhere to sleep today. I ain't have to sleep outside. I got my daily bread, got clean clothes. I can wash my butt. And the water was hot too. You know what I'm saying? I ain't without nothing that I needed. But you know what we get messed up at? You focus on what you wanted. And since you so fixated on what you wanted, see, this is why a lot of people go to hell. Because you fixated on what you wanted from God and you didn't look at what you needed from him that he gave you. Because he gave you knowledge, he gave you understanding, he gave you repentance, he gave you mercy. That's what you needed. You was looking at these spiritual, you know what I'm talking about, gifts you wanted or all this other stuff so you could flaunt that in front of other people because that's what you wanted. He ain't give it to you. Now you're mad at it. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever be fixated on what you want. Be fixated on what you need. You know what I'm saying? Now, if he give you what you want, pray God. But as long as you got what you need, shoot, that's what you pray God. You know what I'm talking about? Because at the end of the day, that's all he promised you. He ain't promised you no trips. He ain't promised you no fly whips. He ain't promised you no big house. That man said, give us this day our daily bread. That's what he promised you. You'll eat. You'll have clothes on your back and somewhere to stay. Be content. Because you know what'll happen real quick. He'll humble you. He had you like Nebuchadnezzar out here licking grass. You know what I'm talking about? And you'll be like this here, truly, Yahuwah is the Elohim, Shamahim, and their wrath. Surely I've been a fool. Don't make that man push you and press you like that. We'll get to the rest of this, man. Hallelujah for y'all who shot and work, man. We'll get to the rest y'all willing on tomorrow. Man, I appreciate y'all time this evening, man. We getting close to the time of, what that is, time don't go back to November, no. But we probably been done switched to. We probably start to split the difference in a minute to get it to 8:30 because it's getting darker earlier, I believe. I mean, it's about that time. It's almost September. You know what I'm talking about? So again, I appreciate you. Praise you who indeed, brother Reynolds. I appreciate y'all time to see the man. Bless y'all the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. Love y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. On tomorrow, man, we'll make it do what it do. Until that time, y'all willing, we're gonna pick right up in Genesis. Praise y'all indeed, big time. Y'all willing tomorrow, man? We're gonna pick up right up in Genesis 1 to dealing with the that part. Shoot, no doubt. So we're gonna look at what it is. What we was at 2 Kings 19. We didn't get to Psalms 1 today, this evening, but we did start it Wednesday. So we'll look at that. Y'all willing, I can get Proverbs 13, Proverbs 15, and Proverbs 11 in the way. Amen, brother Ellis. And we can do it like that, man. But you know, before we get out of here, I'll just leave y'all with this here, man. Well, you brothers got the confidence that no ain't nobody gonna be able to touch because you got the word of Yahuwah. Ain't nothing better than that, man. You know what I'm talking about? That's what. Remember, it say, you know, the righteous is bold as a lion, and that boldness is just dealing with confidence. You know what I'm saying? When you know you got Yahuwah with you, man, you can be confident in whatever it is that you're doing, as long as it's righteous. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing wrong with it, man. You know, brothers know already know. I ain't got no problem with you, man. You want to grind to get your shine on, and Yahuwah increase it. You know what I'm saying? Get your grind on, man. Shine bright. You know what I'm talking about? But always remember, man, what your number one purpose is, man. That's to deliver your soul. You can't deliver your children's souls. You can't deliver your wife's soul. You can't deliver your friend's soul. You can't deliver your family's soul. You can only save yours. Now, in the process of saving yours, you can be a light unto others that they might want to save theirs. But at the end of the day, that's all you can do. You know what I'm talking about? Just stand firm, man. Yahuwah ain't never going to fail you. His word is endorsed forever. Yahuwah willing though, until tomorrow, man, we're going to make it do what it do. Y'all niggas look like y'all tired. You ain't getting no sleep? What you doing up all night? Watching movies? That's what you up there doing.